Hello and welcome to the Pinfall podcast. I am your host, as always, with the most, Elizabeth. I'm pretty sure if I move any further back, my sign's going to get knocked over. So I'm just going to have to lean back for a little bit.
It is pushed up
Enjoy
much
the sign.
further than it was on Monday, but yes, it is very nice.
Huh? Is it that much closer?
I think so, at least. I think it was a little further back.
I think.
Yeah, I think that's about where it was.
It's better. I wanted to be a little closer because I felt like I was taking up too much of the frame, and this is the real star.
Even though the stream itself says the Pinfall podcast at the top.
Anyways, this is my Negative Nancy co-host, Marcus.
Hey.
No respect for the signs. No respect.
I give you so much respect for the signs. Your signs are great. Your signs are wonderful.
Sure. We have quite the NXT tonight. I don't know how I felt about most of it. Just kidding. I'm a little annoyed by most of it.
Most of it?
There are a couple things that made me happy, but...
Most of it? Huh. Because you were very vocal about one thing. Everything else, you didn't seem annoyed by.
Talk about it. I got problems right now. I got problems. I should jump into the news, huh?
Yeah.
Should I jump into the news? Just jump into the news now?
Also, is the cat in there with you?
Yeah, that's why I shut the door.
Okay. Just making sure.
I can see her very small paws. Let me shut this lipstick before I... So let's transition into the news.
I love how you can just see the signs in the backgrounds, like the one you just tossed down there. You can see that one.
You can't.
The rest you can't. Just the one that you tossed.
Anyways, anywho. All right.
Love these cue cards.
Welcome to the news segment. So, first things first, Nia Jax was reportedly fined, as far as her story goes, was reportedly fined for her attack on the referees on Monday. Shayna Baszler was, however, not fined for this. She also attacked them.
Well, I feel like if anyone's going to actually hurt them, it's Nia Jax. Also, real quick, do you understand this reference Malam referenced about you? He said it's a deep cut reference. He said you're the new sign guy, if you're familiar with who that is. I'm not.
I don't think I do. I don't think I do understand that. I want to. I just want to assume that you mean Seinfeld.
Or like the sign person like in the ring. Like, you know how they used to have like the person hold up the ring?
Oh, dude, if that's what we're referencing, then fine, I'll take it. Also, since I know that Malam is in the chat right now, I just want to say that
Mike.
Oh, Mike, hey! But I just want to make a point that I am such a fool. I followed Malam on Twitter shortly after I think shortly after you and Mike were both in our chat. And I didn't even think about it. And it took me up until I think Monday to realize that when I followed you on Twitter, I didn't realize it was Malam, the person in our app, up until you made the comment about the signs, and I was like, oh, thank you. And then I saw the name on the Twitter bio, and I was like, oh. So I felt a little foolish.
Oh, he explained what the reference was. He said he was a super fan in the early 2000s who brought at least 20 different signs to each show and would bust out a new for each segment. It was wild.
I will take that role. I'm happy to be the sign guy right now. This is literally all I have going on anymore. Now that we're in quarantine, I just do this until 5 a.m. and then I fall asleep. While watching Up, Up, Down, Down's Uno series for the 14th time.
Yeah.
I bet the original sign guy probably had a much more fruitful life at this point. But so Nia Jax was fined as per her last appearance on Raw, which was she actually fined?
Probably a slap on the wrist. I doubt they're actually fined.
Also, people were commenting like, well, Shayna Baszler also fought the refs, so. But then Nia Jax did delete her Twitter account.
Really? I mean, that's
fine, I guess.
I mean, she's been like notoriously getting hate on Twitter, even like way before this. So it's not shocking that she deleted it.
True. Then there is almost definitely going to be a match with Asuka and Io versus Sasha and Bayley for the NXT title. Apparently that is almost definitely confirmed. It is very much still in the air, but it's almost definitely going to happen.
Can they win the NXT title? Is that can they do that? I mean, they lost to Io last time.
Judging by how the McMahons treat them, I think that they could take over the WWE and no one would really bat an eyelash.
I think that's what they're.
Oh, it's Bayley and Sasha.
I think that's what they're trying to do. Are they going to go for the U.S. title next? Fight Apollo Crews? Or MVP?
They'd have to fight MVP. Next, they're going to fight Keith Lee together. Move out of the way, Karrion Kross.
They're going to win men's titles soon. They're going to fight Drew McIntyre.
I don't want to talk about that right now. I'm still upset. I'm still hurt.
It's just such a weird match. Asuka and Io versus Sasha and Bayley. Yeah.
To be fair, I did get that tweet from at King Ajar. So maybe he's lying. Maybe I just happen to follow people who follow people who follow people who tweet stuff that isn't actually true. It seemed a pretty concise opinion, I guess. All of the rest of my news is from actual news sources, I promise. This is not just me being silly. Speaking of Sasha and Bayley, Ember Moon is not happy that they have all of the female titles right now for SmackDown and Raw. And I think that goes back into the rumors that she wanted to pair up, I think, with Asuka to challenge them for at least, I think at least the tag team title or something like that. I'm not really sure, but I just know that Ember Moon wants a match with Asuka against them. That came out a couple days ago via Cultaholic Wrestling. And I'm fine with that. I'd like to see Ember Moon back. We haven't seen her in a minute.
Mm-hmm.
Hot minute. Yeah. Long hot minute.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely agree with her on the whole. They shouldn't have they shouldn't have all the women's titles, but also, isn't that, I feel like that's just kayfabe.
It might be, but also at the same time, like...
Alright.
Just dropped my phone on the cat. Wrong place, wrong time, sweetie.
Oh, God.
She just crawled out from under the bed, too. She was like, hello, and I was like, eat. Nope. Back under.
Also, before we move on to the next subject, would I be able to mention something really quickly that was already mentioned in chat, so they do know about it. It's just something I want to
see the chat, so yes.
Alexa Bliss, I think we talked about this a little bit. Alexa Bliss is doing this whole cameo thing, and some of it's for charity. And some dude paid her $400. Fitness trainer brought this up too in the chat. And I saw on Reddit someone posted about this. Some dude paid her $400 to ask her out on a date. And then her response, her cameo, was rejecting him. And I've seen that video posted all over Reddit. and I think even Twitter too. That is embarrassing.
Dude, like, first of all, I have problems with people being like, oh, here's a public figure that I can, like, pay to talk to me, basically. Will you ask me out on it? Like, I'm going to ask you out on a date, and I'm going to pay you money to, like, give me an answer. Like, first of all, that's kind of weird. Second of all, that's embarrassing as hell.
Not even just pay you money. Pay you $400.
That's a lot of money.
That is like that. I'm trying to think of like that. You could buy a WWE champion belt with that much money.
Full price, not even their 50% off deals.
Yeah. But I mean, you can't knock Alexa Bliss. She was just, you know, doing her thing. She's happy with Ryan Cabrera.
Also has
seems
a
like
boyfriend now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A very successful boyfriend who seems to be doing a lot right now. He's famous. I'll say that. But my God, that is like huge simp mentality.
Yeah, that's wild. I feel bad because that like puts her in such like an uncomfortable position because like $400 is a lot of money, and I could be wrong, but I saw something that she was doing these things to raise money for a charity. I could be totally wrong on that, but I think that was what the case was. So at the very least, if I'm correct, at least she raised money to reject him.
Yeah, I think her and Ryan Cabrera are doing this thing for charity. I think it's like you donate $20 or something and you can watch them do some music thing over Zoom, or donate $50 and get a shout out from Alexa Bliss. Also, Malam, yes, we are still raising money for At Midnight. It's not a short film. We're trying to make it a feature, but at the very least it's going to be a half-hour long piece.
Mark writes one feature-length script and gets all the promo stuff. Elizabeth writes one feature-length script and gets nothing.
To be fair, I don't have a feature script yet. Right now it's like 40 minutes.
This is the beauty of we went to school together, so we have been working together on film stuff for a while. And it's like we've reached different points where I finished the feature length, I think, right before our senior year of college. I finished my own feature length, so we didn't have that much like resources, and it got put on the back burner several times. And then Mark wrote a really good script that could be turned into a feature length. And then you just have to like sit there and you're like, wrong timing, Elizabeth. However, yes, we are still raising money for that as well. And as one of the producers.
And that would be much appreciated, Fitness Trainer, if you could plug it on Twitter. He asked. It's the pinned tweet on my personal Twitter.
I'm just going to put it out there very quickly before we jump into the next headline. I love both of you guys, both Malam and Mike. I love you both. You're so good. You're so good to us. Just in general, and the support. It makes my little heart sing sometimes. I'm gonna jump into the next news piece. But I have to say that now.
Sorry, I've derailed for too long.
We have. This is the problem with the news, is that we like really can jump off tangent on these. So I guess let's talk about really quickly. So I mentioned Monday that Vince McMahon said that there's something missing from Aleister Black. Now the article from Cultaholic has gone to confirm, or has kind of taken, like, recanted a little bit. But Vince McMahon has not soured on Aleister Black, the person, Tom Budgeon, or whatever his name is. Hasn't soured on the wrestler himself, but rather doesn't like the character anymore. And there is a very good chance that after Monday, we saw him written off TV entirely so that they can repackage his character and make him something different, which would go to the fact that the last we saw of him, he was wearing a vest and like a nice like button-up t-shirt and slacks and loafers.
Yeah, I mean, I get what Vince is talking about. Like, you ever just write a script and you kind of hate where you're going with the character? Imagine that, but it's being filmed in real time.
My problem with that is just that, like, after seeing all this stuff where, like, Aleister Black was like, I really like my character because it means this and this and this and this and this and this and this.
Mm-hmm.
For Vince McMahon just be like, I don't like it. Let's do something else. It's like, oh.
To be fair, he is, as Mike said, he's pretty much nothing but a Mysterio lackey. Like, that's what he is right now. Maybe he wants to bring him back to, like, the Fallen Angel type thing, which would be awesome. Maybe kill him on screen and sort of have him come back from the dead. That'd be pretty cool. They almost had that at Money in the Bank when he was thrown onto the second roof.
Sorry. I wanted to open this as far away from the microphone as possible, but then there's a cat. She just ran away from it. Like, I tried to shoot her.
Oh.
Poor cat. I wouldn't mind for them to, like, repackage him in the sense that, like, he's not just Rey Mysterio's White Knight.
Yeah.
That is kind of tiring now. I love seeing him. I love seeing him fight Alistair, Buddy and Seth. I love seeing him fight them, but at the same time, I do want to see him as a character again.
Mm-hmm.
Not just, hey, this guy's running towards him now. Yeah. I want to finish with my last and most favorite piece of news from the past 2 days, which is Jon Moxley calling Vince McMahon a 74-year-old madman. There's nothing else to it, really. I heard that news and I was like,
yeah,
okay.
I read the article as well. He was talking about the freedom being on the mic and doing promos, comparing WWE and AEW. And the gist basically is because Vince is a 77-year-old madman. Is that what you said?
74, I think.
74-year-old madman. Because of that, he has a lot more freedom in AEW, because I guess they just like to give their wrestlers a lot more creative freedom.
That leads me to question how much, like, weight Vince actually pulls in WWE right now.
Yeah, I wish that's something we could kind of see, but just like the veil on wrestling as a whole in WWE, we'll never get that.
Oh. I'm petting the cat while I talk. Some of the veil was lifted a little bit tonight. Degree. To a very minute degree.
Mm-hmm.
But we can talk about that when we get into Jesus Christ,
gotta love the and.
I never got around to finishing the and. I want to make it an ampersand, but dang it.
Matches.
Go straight.
Matches and promos.
I got so mad at this. I had so many crises while drawing this out. You can still see some of the eraser shadings on it. Don't look at her.
If you follow Liz on Twitter, you could follow along with her nervous breakdown she had while doing it.
It was bad. The O's aren't that good. I've got 2 paintbrushes because all of my other ones I tend to paint stuff and then I just let the paint dry on the brushes and then the paint never comes off.
You can't even see that they're messed up at all. Can't see it.
If you're like me and you're not wearing your glasses, you definitely can't see it. Yeah, maybe get in there. And also, if you notice, to a degree, it's technically on default the WrestleMania font. So, just saying.
Liz knows her fonts.
I don't. I just looked up WrestleMania font. Okay.
Is that a bug?
All right. Yeah. Just give me 1 second. Okay. List one of your favorite things.
All right. So we're gonna talk about oh God, my favorite.
Are you a ladybug? I can't kill you if you're a ladybug.
I do want to talk about. I created a new tier system for wrestlers. It goes along. Here, I'm gonna mute Liz real quick. It goes along with the fact that I like to rank everything and ruin my life that way. So, it's broken down by tiers, like S tier, A tier, stuff like that. There's 3 S tier wrestlers: Sasha Banks, Bailey, and Drew McIntyre. I don't want to get into the rest because we got to get into the main program now that Liz is done. Is it dead? Is dead?
No.
No?
I can tell if it's a ladybug or not because I don't have my glasses on. Let it fly up to the ceiling and now it's up there.
So put your glasses on.
I tried.
Do you
It wasn't worth it. Oh, it's not going to be a bee, so it's fine.
Okay.
Just don't want to kill it.
All right.
Anywho. So we started tonight with a little retrospective of the Keith Lee and Dominik Dijakovic best friendship that they have going on. It hurt me on the inside because I'm still upset about last week, as anyone should be, because that was a very heartbreaking wrestling match, and I don't know why they had to do that to me. I'm a good person. That wasn't much. That was really just setting us up for what I thought was going to be a Keith Lee carrying cross match because it was kind of teased. Didn't get a Keith Lee carrying cross match.
Well, we'll talk about that more once we get to the promo, because there was a
yes, I suppose there was. And then we had Io Shirai come out for a match that was not announced whatsoever. As Io Shirai comes out, we have pretty much a mirror image to the last Io Shirai match, the end of it, when Dakota Kai attacked her. Because Io comes out, she's at the top of the ramp, and Dakota Kai comes out of nowhere again, tackles her. And then Tegan comes out to defend Io, and Candice LeRae comes out to defend Dakota from Tegan. It was a little confusing to start with.
I think the only weird thing about this matchup is that Dakota came out with Candice rather than Raquel. And Candice was not in this kind of feud at all. It's very weird. I didn't really understand why they threw Candice in there.
Makes me wonder what they're planning on doing with Mia Yim.
Yeah, maybe she's moving to the main roster. I think I talked about this
Or maybe they're just gonna
last time on NXT.
and say maybe they're gonna put her up against Mercedes.
Yeah, I mean
that's a pretty tough lady.
True. But last we left off with Mia was, I think, Great American Bash, and I think now she's got nothing going on. So who knows? But it also makes me wonder what's going to happen. Like, what's the on-screen goings-on with Johnny Gargano and Candice LeRae's relationship? Because we haven't seen, like, promos of that in a long time. Last we saw of, like, anything related to it was right before Great American Bash, when they attacked Swerve and Mia.
I mean, yeah, they're obviously still married, but like we're not asking the same questions of like Mia Yim and Keith Lee's relationship. Because like we know Keith Lee and Mia are still married, it's just they haven't been together. And I think the whole point of pushing that marriage angle between Keith and Mia and Candice and Johnny was just so that they could have that mixed match between the four of them.
Mm-hmm.
And that was the only reason they even did that in the first place.
Yeah. Although, like Malam said...
Plus, it's one of the few couples... Oh, yeah.
Like Malam said, I missed those great dinner segments.
The first one with Johnny and Candice, I like really had to just sit back like... What? Sir? What are we doing today? But yeah, I mean, I don't think we're gonna see too much more of that. I think it's just, I think they really benefited because, like, it seems like a lot of wrestling couples nowadays are one WWE wrestler and one AEW wrestler. I don't think that they can capitalize on a lot of it because a lot of couples have been split up thus far because of, like, one of them is a lesser performer, so like they've kind of been cut, and then they were like, "Oh, I've been cut. Wow, I'm gonna go to AEW." So I think that they were just like, "This is all we have, boys."
It just makes me want Maurice back.
I don't think we're ever going to see that again, sadly. And they've got, like, what, 3 kids now?
Yeah, I think 3 kids.
We're going to either wait or just accept defeat on that one. So, it starts by ending Candace backwards by, like, her palm. But the problem was that Tegan's arms were down while she does this, so, like, she's kind of trying to do a submission hold on the fingers, while the ref is basically like, I'm gonna count you out in, like, 5 seconds if you don't, like, pull yourself together. And we got Dakota Kai in, a nice leg sweep on Io, who just kind of lost it, which seems to be kind of like a weird common theme between Io, Asuka, and Kairi. I don't know how to feel about it, but it feels kind of like interesting. It's just interesting that, like, I've noticed that this is a pattern where it's like they kind of get taken advantage of in the ring, and all of a sudden they're just like mad. Which I kind of enjoy seeing, but also all 3 of them are the same way in that. I also could just be nitpicking. Io kicks Kai's face. Then she fakes out a running up move on from Kai. It's a sweet little move. Kips up from it. And then Dakota Kai sends Io back first into the canvas. And it was... there were a lot of moves tonight where I kind of, like, had to cringe for, like, a little bit. Like, thank you. I suplexed Shirai. And then we had a cover, but in spite of everything that Shirai had taken at that point, she managed to kick out. And that's one of the things that I think is really interesting about Io, is that she's kind of got the Drew McIntyre thing going for her, where she can take a beating. The girl can take a hell of a beating and still manage to kick out of it.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see. I'm trying to, like, get, like, my eyes on my notes, but I cannot see for the life of me. So Shirai then flattens Dakota onto the canvas and does a nice little arm lock on her. Like, with her legs. So it was like full Nelson, but where your arm should be on the full Nelson was her leggies.
That was really cool.
That was wild. I loved that. I love seeing that.
The only competitor to Bobby Lashley.
Oh my god, I'd love to see that. I need Bobby in a mixed tag match.
Mm-hmm.
That's what we deserve. And then Candice LeRae jumps in and is like, no, don't hurt my friend. But Tegan is like, doesn't work over here. It might work at Raw, but, like, it's not gonna work here. And then they try to do the most pathetic double team flip on Kai, Io, and Nox. Dakota still lands on her feet. LeRae pulls Io out of the ring, and then Dakota Kai sends Tegan out of the ring over the ropes. And then poor Tegan Nox gets thrown into the stairs. And frankly, after last week with Dominic and Karrion, I could do with, like, a couple weeks of just not seeing any stair action for a minute and a half.
Mm-hmm.
I have so many notes for this stupid match. But then we got from Io a nice back to belly suplex to Kai. She goes up to the top rope, but Kai manages to punch her down from the top rope. But off of the turnbuckle, off the top turnbuckle, Io double stomps Dakota Kai's throat.
It was more the chest. She kind of propelled herself off of her chest.
Still was, like, one of those things where I was like, no, no more of that. We're not doing that tonight, that's for sure. She covers, but Dakota manages to kick out. And then we got Shirai doing a lethal dropkick from the top rope. double knees in the corner to Luray's poor little neck. And then, like this tour de force, Shirai knocks Kai off the apron. Tegan slips in while the ref is like looking at Shirai and Dakota. Tegan slips in, does her little knee slap to Luray's face. And then back in the ring, moonsaults, basically knees to Candice LeRae's face. And pins her and wins. But for a minute, I was really expecting Candice LeRae to come up with like a bloody nose because of where it looked like Io's knees landed on her.
Yeah, this fight was really great. Mostly to show off Io. She, as Mike and Malam have been talking about in the chat, Io is probably the best female wrestler on the entire roster. Maybe like some others who can compete, like Charlotte Flair or Sasha Banks. But Io is definitely one of the best. She's absolute, like every name they call her, like genius of the sky or whatever it is, it's not wrong. she is always the most impressive one in the ring in NXT. And I really want to see either I want to see a singles match with her in either Dakota or Rhea, depending on how that goes. But yeah, Io is awesome.
We might actually get to see that soon because, not to spoil one of my last notes, but I'm going to anyways. Dakota and Rhea are going to fight next week, I think, for the opportunity to fight Io for her title the week thereafter.
I feel like that's something that would be done at TakeOver. They might delay it somehow.
Rather, by the week thereafter, I assume that they would wait for something like that because TakeOver is coming up so soon.
Mm-hmm.
I assume that they would wait, but as far as their scheduling has thusly promoted it, it looks like it will be. Next week is Rhea and Dakota, and then the week after is But it could wait until then, because I think by the time that were to happen, it would be the weekend. It would be the week before Weekend TakeOver. So,
yeah. And I mean, we talk about how great Io was this match. I think Dakota was also really great. Not as great as Io, but she's been performing really well recently.
We also got to see a nice little piece of teamwork from girls who were literally just fighting last week.
Yeah.
I mean, Tegan and Io were against each other for the title, spewing all like this vitriol towards each other. And now all of a sudden they're tag team partners. Because if we can all team up against one thing, it's Dakota Kai.
Yeah.
Apparently. Down with it. And at least Candice is getting something to do in the meantime.
It's something other than being Johnny's wife.
Yeah. Which, good. Thankful for that. Triple H did one thing right tonight. Not much else, but that's fine.
All right, let's continue.
Sure. Actually, speaking of things that I'm mad about, so Mark and I were discussing this, and we've been discussing this and kind of debating this for about 2 weeks now, I think. As everyone in the world, the wrestling world, knows at this point, I think, Adam Cole was on the Pat McAfee show, yelled a lot, smacked a microphone to the ground, pushed a producer. The whole thing, it didn't necessarily look real, but at the same time, it was like, is it real? Is it not real? It's hard to say. We're never going to know because of beautiful veil of kayfabe.
And by that, you mean we're not going to get any confirmation from anyone.
Right. We're never going to actually know whether it was real or not. However, as Mark Henry said, which, by the way, Mark Henry and Russell Simmons. Russell Simmons was at Raw a couple weeks ago, I think, and Mark Henry was at Raw this past Monday. I made a comment earlier before the podcast started that they were thinking of bringing up the Nation of Domination again, and they decided to scrap those plans. Mm-hmm. Those plans were supposed to, I think, come into play this past Monday, and that is why we saw Russell Simmons and Mark Henry these separate nights. They were supposed to be there. Mark Henry was supposed to be there for that Monday, and they just decided to keep him in certain shots after they scrapped those plans.
Oh, it's not Russell Simmons, it's Ron Simmons. Mike just made that correction in the chat. Russell Simmons is a hip-hop mogul, apparently. Sorry for interrupting.
Yes, he is, actually, and I should have known that. And I knew I was going to say it wrong. I knew it was an R. But so Ron Simmons, the whole reason Mark Henry was there Monday was because they ended up scrapping those plans, but they were just like, we have Mark Henry here. What do we do now? I don't know why I brought this up. I'm gonna backtrack.
I think.
I do know why. Okay. So Mark Henry was on a podcast, and he said that he didn't know if that was a real interaction with Adam Cole and Pat McAfee or not. He said one way or the other, NXT would be stupid to not use this to their advantage.
Mm-hmm.
So, fast forward to an hour ago. They mentioned the Pat McAfee show on NXT tonight. They replayed, minus the swearing, sadly. They replayed Adam Cole's out. And then they replayed Triple H's appearance on the show, I think a couple days ago. Being like, oh, it was kind of irresponsible of him to do that. There was no reason for it, blah, 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 blah. Anyhow. And then that brings us into the Johnny versus Roddy.
Malam asked, where does this go as far as the Pat McAfee thing? Because he isn't a wrestler. I think they're gonna pull a Gronkowski and make him wrestle, albeit like really small wrestling, like the 24/7 title and stuff. Mostly just some cross-brand integration.
Yeah, I mean, it is. Try not to feel like a stupid idiot when it comes to being fooled by kayfabe stuff. But the fact that the response to this was so non-committal in a weird way, they mentioned the response to it, and then that was pretty much it. They talked about it briefly on the show tonight, and that was about it. It kind of makes me feel like they're still trying to figure out where they're going to go with it, as far as potentially doing a Rob Gronkowski thing, bringing him on to I don't know, maybe kick Adam Cole's ass or something, or maybe let Adam Cole kick his ass. I don't know. But it kind of makes me feel almost more like this was a real freak out, because they had nothing really planned or lined up for this.
I mean,
there weren't any rumors that anything fell apart for NXT a couple days ago, and that's why things were stunted in a weird way.
I mean, it's also coinciding with Undisputed Era being back. And
spoilers!
Sorry, with a certain tag team being back. But it might not have been something that was planned in advance. Wrestlers are really good improv artists. That's what promos really are, is a lot of improv. Same with stuff in the ring. A lot of it really is improv, although it's orchestrated and rehearsed. Some of it is done on the spot. And Adam Cole might have had this thought in his head, it might do really good for WWE and the Pat McAfee show if I have a little freak out, show off my character a little bit. He might have talked to Pat McAfee beforehand, right before the show, and been is this okay if I do this, this, this? And I mean, at the end of the day, it's only benefiting the two brands.
My problem with that is that, like, well, you have to assume that he talked to Pat McAfee before the show started about doing that. Because if he didn't, then that's still a dick move.
Yeah.
My other problem with that is that, like, I mean, there are stories about, like, I was just watching a Mike Rome appearance on a podcast. Mike Rome said, I bleached my hair and I didn't warn anyone at WWE that I was doing that. And they told me I had to dye back because I didn't ask to do it.
Mm-hmm.
So it makes me feel like that can't quite be kosher for Adam Cole to just suddenly take the reins into his hands and be like, hey, Pat, you know what would be really, really cool for us? It would be really cool is, like, if we just, like, had a feud all of a sudden without Triple H at all being like, thumbs up, like, go for it, buddy.
Well,
I feel like that would not be something that went over well, even if it did benefit them in the end.
Well, Mike actually mentioned this. McAfee works for WWE in the pre-show panels. So Triple H could have organized it, but whether or not it was organized beforehand, I feel like in WWE as a whole, wrestlers are told whenever they're on a public forum or public medium, they have to remain in character because that's their public image. And Adam Cole was still in character for that. So whether or not it was like a move told to him by WWE, he was still in character. Just like how Seth Rollins was in character to go on The Daily Show.
So this does actually play into, and now that we know that about Pat McAfee, that actually does help a little bit. Because the thing is that, like, I don't like being a fool to wrestlers, like, kayfabe shit. I don't like being a fool to that. At the same time, I'm like, I also want to treat them like they are technically real people under all that. So, like, who knows? However, it does lead into something that we're going to talk about later, where you and I kind of may have had a little bit of a little brain blast when it came to everything, as far as where this Roddy fight goes. Today, promo if you did not see NXT tonight, which I was screaming about personally. So let's get through this, and then we can bring it up again because I'm excited. I may have used all caps several times in my notes. So we had Johnny Gargano versus Roddy. And Roddy comes out acting so, what?
Real super quick thing, super quick. Mike actually just put in the chat a really big telltale sign that the whole tirade Adam Cole did on the Pat McAfee show was on WWE's YouTube channel. So
then I have different problems, and my different problem now is that I'm mad that Adam Cole had to go out and make this, like, huge-ass apology on his Twitter about it. Because that apology seems so genuine and so sad, because he was like, I feel so embarrassed for my actions and X, Y, and Z, and I was like, oh, but that's, like, a shame. I'm so sorry. And if this was all a work, I'm just...
I've mentioned this before. I feel like the apology was done because football fans don't really realize what kayfabe is, so they might just see this guy come onto the show and be really aggressive with the host they really like and berate them on Twitter. And that apology was kind of done with advice from his publicist to sort of just get these people off his back. Plus, with Austin Jenkins being as nice as he is.
I'm so mad. I'm so mad right now. So mad. Any whoozy what's it? Let's talk about Johnny versus Roddy before I get angrier.
Yes. Amazing fight.
Yeah, just throw me into this, please, because it was a really impressive fight. However, if Roddy goes another day without the respect he deserves, I swear to God. I swear to God, I'm going sky high. Going to the moon, baby.
This fight was amazing. Now, Roddy deserves a win. Roddy really deserves a win. I was going on about my list a little bit earlier. Roddy right now is the lowest ranked wrestler across all brands. Since April, he has fought 5 times and lost every single time. He is ranked lower than John Morrison and The Miz. So he needs something to bring him back up, and I have a feeling that this... I don't want to get into spoilers again, but this mysterious return tag team might be what gets him some wins. But with that said, Johnny Gargano is like one of the best wrestlers performance-wise that NXT has right now. Johnny Gargano is fantastic. Put him in a ring with Roderick Strong, who is amazing too. Although he hasn't been getting sort of the respect that he deserves. I know that's been sort of a shtick thrown around by many wrestlers right now. But they need to give Roddy a win. But this fight was like one of the most evenly matched fights we've gotten in a long time.
I really do love how we're going on about this mysterious tag team as if it's not the most obvious thing in the entire world.
You didn't want me to
especially
spoil
if you
it.
watch the episode tonight. No, I really appreciate it. I do. It sucks because like if you were to tune in to NXT a couple weeks later than we started watching it, I really just think that Roddy's like some goofy schmuck living like off the fat of the Undisputed Era land.
Yeah,
and
like what Pat McAfee was
like,
talking about.
It's like Roddy's like a really decorated wrestler. Like he's a very talented guy, and like I'm glad that he is getting more opportunities to prove himself as like a serious person, as a serious wrestler. But the Dexter Lumis bit was funny. I really enjoyed it. I'm not gonna like backtrack on that at all. Like I really enjoyed it. But it just sucks that like that's what it feels like his career right now is being boiled down to, I guess.
Have you seen how Roderick Strong became a member of Undisputed Era?
I knew probably 3 drinks ago. I knew how he became a member because I've done a lot of reading up on 4 of them because Bobby Fish is from my hometown. With that being said,
he was in a fight. I think it was like a free for all or something. I don't really know what the context was. But the wrestler that they were up against was like down on the mat, and I think Kyle O'Reilly was kind of like feeling super weak or also passed out or something, and Roddy pulls him over onto the other wrestler to just have him get the pin instead of going it for himself. And like Adam Cole was like really impressed by it, really happy. So they inducted him in, and Mike said 3-way tag match, KOR/Cole versus AOP versus Dunn/Strong. Okay. So Kyle and Cole versus what's AOP?
Isn't that Architects of Pain?
Oh right,
Authors
right.
of Pain? Authors of Pain?
Authors of Pain.
Yeah.
And then that was for a belt too, yeah. And they gave Strong the belt afterwards, according to Mike. That was a great video.
I mean, to be fair, they worked closely together prior to going to NXT because they were all part of Ring of Honor. I know Bobby Fish wrestled in Albany for a while, doing a lot of shit at the Armory in Washington Ave. And then, thusly, because New York is so close to Pennsylvania, he ended up at Ring of Honor and then moved down to NXT, I think. I only know that because, again, Bobby Fish and I are basically neighbors in terms of like where we grew up. Makes me happy. One guy came out of there. But yeah, it's just really hard to know that Roddy did so much going up in the ranks. Now he's kind of like a goofy guy. Like, he's so scared of Dexter Lumis. Rightfully so. But also, it is nice to see him getting these serious fights, but I do want to see him get something else.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Like, one win. I'll take one win. Just one.
Yeah.
But let's get through this match, and then I'll go into my thinking as to why this has to happen the way it's happening, and whether or not it makes me happy or not.
Mm-hmm.
So Roddy comes out looking like just so tough, even after the whole Dexter Lumis like running away from him, wouldn't get in the ring with him, forced him to go to the other side of the ring because he's like, I don't want to get in here. But he comes in, he's just like so big and strong against Johnny Gargano. Love that for him. And we got to see more of the grappling Johnny side as opposed to the scam artist Johnny, which is another thing I enjoyed seeing. We're starting to get more of like regular Johnny Gargano, not just Johnny Gargano trying to take down a Titan.
Mm-hmm.
Which I didn't enjoy because it did the same thing to Johnny that they're doing to Roddy right now, where it was like, oh, Johnny's just a little schemer. He's not that good of a wrestler. He's just scheming people and like getting dirty wins. But like now we're getting to see like he's like a wrestler.
Yeah, we see how he became the Triple Crown winner. We see why he was in that contest to get the North American title.
Which also, mind you, after all of that, it does give me more hope to Roddy's story. Even with Undisputed Era, because we went through a couple weeks of Johnny being like a little shyster. And now we're getting to see Johnny the wrestler. So I'm hoping that we're going to start seeing Roddy the wrestler.
Yeah.
In spite of everything. We got a good Tihara from Johnny. And then Roddy goes for the draping DDT, and Johnny pulls out... Oh, sorry. Johnny, he goes for the draping DDT. He pulls Johnny out of the ring, but Johnny manages to grab his arm. And I just need to discuss how good Roddy is at the backbreakers. And how much I would love for Roddy to be my chiropractor. Maybe break my spine back into like a straight line as opposed to the little S curve that it's doing at this hour. I don't know, maybe it's just Johnny selling it really well, or Roddy performing the move really well. Every time he does it, I'm just like, it's like I can hear the crack in the back of my ears. I'm like, oh my god, thanks. Then we got a nice arm drag counter to Roddy from Johnny.
Johnny was full of these counters today. He was countering everything Roddy was doing.
Johnny was a step ahead of Roddy for a lot of these moves.
Mm-hmm.
And that excited me. As much as I love Roddy, as much as my boy. But I really liked seeing Johnny looking so nice tonight. Oh my god. And plus this was like one of those matches where it's like, it's hard for you to take your eyes off of things because you're like, what are they going to do next? I tried to say it as fast as I could because I was about to hiccup. Like, I gotta stop drinking carbonated stuff while I do this. Alright, so I want to look up while I talk about this. So we got a really hard double kick Johnny Gargano's face. And that, I think this was when you said, oh, I think I just saw something fly from his mouth.
Yeah, I saw...
Normally just... It's like usually just like a loogie, but also...
I saw like 3 white things fly from his mouth, and you can never tell if it's teeth or spit. It's... Normally it's teeth if
it's like spit.
If they're like holding their mouth like this afterwards, you know it's teeth.
But then we got to see, and I only know the name of this because one, they said it on the show tonight, and two, because I've looked up the signature moves for Johnny Gargano. I'm learning. I'm still learning a lot. Originally, I would watch wrestling and be like, wow, he got kicked in the face, or wow, he got thrown to the canvas. I'm trying to learn the words for it, so.
Learning.
What else am I doing in this quarantine? So then we had a really awesome, I'm going to say this wrong probably, Step Up Enziguri. Enziguri, I think. I know online it is spelled Enziguri. And that's pretty much like what I was trying to figure out the name of for a while, which looks like kind of like the parkour kick.
Mm-hmm.
As I used to call it, where like he like basically jumps up both feet and then kicks the guy in the face.
Mike posted a pronunciation. Inziguri.
Enziguri. Right. Enziguri. No, Siri, no. Siri turned on.
In Siri?
Yeah. Oh, don't say it too loud. She'll hear you. However, he did that. I don't want to say it again because my phone will turn on and start listening to me. To poor little Roddy's little face. My poor man. And then I don't even know what Roddy was going to do, but Roddy was going to do something. Gargano countered it with his head scissors, which always look impressive. Another head scissors. And then I think at this point Roddy was out of the ring and he was just slamming him into the post, slamming him into the plexiglass, slamming him back into the apron, and then into the plexiglass again. And I was like, oh, Roddy's gonna die tonight. Okay. You got a flying DDT from Gargano to Roddy, and that's always just fun to see. That's always fun to watch. There's very few DDTs that we watch that I'm just like that I'm ever like sitting back and being like, okay, yeah, whatever. Yeah, like I love a good DDT. And then Gargano covered Roddy for the win. And
look, I know.
I guess we need to see.
I know you're upset about Roddy losing this. I am too. But you can't deny that at no point in this match did it seem like the better wrestler lost. Johnny constantly, like, despite all this being fixed, he's like, he was the dominant wrestler in this match. You could argue he was in the triple threat, but he was very much the dominant wrestler here. And that even shows that he deserved the win over Roddy here because he countered literally everything Roddy did.
I'm not debating like whether or not Johnny deserved the win or otherwise.
Mm-hmm.
But it's good to see Johnny getting to be like a wrestler again. I just want to see the same thing going for Roddy at this point. And again, we're like 2 sections away from me talking about why I think he needed to wait.
Yeah.
It is hard for me to watch. Going back to Elizabeth in context of watching this match at this time, it was hard to watch because it was like, give Roddy the win, god damn it!
Yeah. But it is really nice to go from Roddy getting demolished by Dexter Lumis to him fighting Johnny, arguably one of the best wrestlers at NXT right now. It's very clear that they know how much talent Roddy has.
That is a really good point. The fact that they're giving him the opportunity outside of his tag team to up against somebody that was like literally just fighting for the title.
Mm-hmm.
I'll take it. And I'll take it further because, again, there's a promo for me to get absolutely out of my head about.
Yes.
And I will. I will absolutely get out of my head about this upcoming promo. But first, we had to listen to Dakota Kai backstage. Dakota Kai is just basically saying that she's mad because she thinks that she deserves the title. She deserves to go up against Io next.
She's sick of tag team stuff.
And then, yeah. That she wants a one-on-one match and blah, 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 blah. Whiny, whiny, whiny. And then Rhea Ripley comes in with her brand new bleached hair, looking fabulous.
She looked great.
Because she didn't have her little weird contacts in, and I appreciate that. Rhea steps in, and she says that she has a problem with Kai saying that she should be next in line for the title, because Rhea was literally just fighting for that title before Dakota was. So.
Yeah.
Do the math. It doesn't add up. So Rhea is mad about it. It leads into the fact that we're going to have a Rhea Dakota match next Wednesday to find out who's going to challenge for the title. Probably at TakeOver. Probably not the week after, but oh god, scrolled with too many fingers. I almost closed out this entire window. We had Tim Tam Thatchy Thatch backstage. Says some mean things about Finn, then says some mean things about Dexter. And then, as he's saying the mean things about Dexter,
Dexter Lumis showed us. Dexter. He showed us why he's the best wrestler to watch. Why he's the greatest. Just lurking in the background.
It was perfect. It was perfect. Because Dexter Lumis is a fucking freak. I love him so much. Almost like a horror movie. I don't know who's in charge of taping these promos, but it's just like a horror movie. Timothy Thatcher's talking, and you got the camera on Timothy Thatcher, and then just like out of the corner behind the curtains, it's just Dexter Lumis's face, like.
God, I want to see him on the main roster so I could see him doing this stuff with like Bray Wyatt or something. Oh god, he's so fun to watch. I love him.
And that's not even the best promo with him in it tonight. Oh. I make fun of Adam Cole during like the Uno plays because or the Uno Let's Plays because like his eyes disappear when he's laughing, and then I just realized that I do the same fucking thing. Mm-hmm. And now I'm embarrassed. So oh god, I actually look like I've been crying. My allergies are so bad that I look like I wake up looking like I've been sobbing, and then I go through the rest of the day just kind of like slowly looking a little less like I've been sobbing. Then I put on a full face of makeup. It doesn't do anything. No. And then we had the promo that changed my life forever. I became happier. My depression was cured. I sleep normal hours. I wake up at 6 a.m. like a human being now. Yeah, Undisputed Era. Backstage. All the way backstage. Just backstage entirely. Adam is mad at Roddy for losing against Johnny Gargano. And Kyle is there. Kyle, who said, I'm not playing because I have diabetes. I don't want to be outside during a pandemic. I guess Kyle has changed his tune on this. I don't know why. I'm a little worried about him, to be totally honest, but it's his life. It's his choice. Live his dream. Kyle comes up and he's like mad at Adam for yelling at Pat McAfee. Says that it's Hollywood bullshit. And then basically just like goes there to psych everybody up. He's like, you're Bobby Fish, you do this stuff, and you're Adam Cole, and you do this stuff, and you're Roddy, and you do this stuff, and we're all great. Yay. I love us. And I said, you know what, Kyle? Yeah, I love us too. We're doing great out here. We're having a good night. And then they're all just they're best friends. You know what? That is the tag team mentality that I personally need. I love 4 men being pals. Being pals, having a good time, taking the titles as they come.
And
As for so little.
that's not even the last time we'll see them tonight.
Anyways, after that we had Mercedes versus Shotzi. Shotzi out of the gate is immediately just trying to beat up Mercedes, and it makes sense because Mercedes is a monolith and Shotzi is not. So she tries to get as many hits as she can. She throws Mercedes down with a sunset bomb from the top rope and does a saucy little switchblade kick and a nice little cannonball, which is technically called the reverse senton, but I will continue to call it the cannonball because that's exactly what it looks like. But then Martinez just kind of turns her into enhancement talent, more or less. Just kicks the bejeebers out of her.
That's kind of why I don't like what they're doing with Shotzi right now. She's kind of just being used to move forward storylines. Like before, she was in that fight with Tegan, Sasha, and Bailey, which was just to push Io challenging them, and also pushing Tegan to go for the title. And now she's being used to push the Robert Stone storyline. It was nice having the moment where she ran over Robert Stone's foot. But I want to see more of Shotzi. I want to see Shotzi doing... I want to see her like have her own matches, have her own story a little bit.
And promos. Sorry.
I'd want to see her against somebody like Rhea Ripley or something. But she's got her own thing going on.
It is a little confusing the way that they've been doing it recently, where it's like they're kind of Tony Nese-ing her in a weird way. It's like, hey, it's Tony Nese. He's a big guy. You should respect him. And then they're like, it's Tony Nese. He's enhancement talent, you fool. And I'm like...
Which is so sad.
I don't know about that. I've seen Tony Nese fights. I don't think he's enhancement talent. But okay. Sure. I guess. I don't know. But Mercedes reverse Juman.
Yep.
Mercedes reverse German Serp.
One syllable at a time. You got this.
Every night this happens. Mercedes reverse German suplexes Shotzi. And then throws Shotzi from her shoulders to the canvas in sort of an F5 kind of vibe, kind of way. That's kind of how it felt for me personally. If I were going to compare that move to anyone, it'd be Brock Lesnar. Mm-hmm. And, basically knocks her spine into her ribcage and covers for the pin. She wins the match. Are you shocked? I'm not shocked. I've never been less shocked in my entire life, honestly, because they're really just pushing Mercedes to be this big thing.
Yeah. We're going to get a match between her and Rhea Ripley, sort of as revenge for Robert Stone. So that's ultimately where this is going.
I would not be shocked if by a couple weeks after TakeOver we're seeing her versus Io. I would not be blown away in any respect.
Yeah.
For that.
I mean, maybe even TakeOver because
that sort of feels like where they're going.
Because if the Dakota Kai Mercedes thing is supposed to happen next week, the week after that, say Rhea wins, Robert Stone shows up and says, Mercedes wants a title too. She'll challenge you, Rhea, for the chance at the title, because we've got weeks before TakeOver.
Did you just misspeak? Because you said we got the Dakota versus Mercedes thing.
Oh, Dakota versus Rhea.
Okay, I thought you heard something I did not hear. I was like, pay a lot of attention. No, I would not be... I don't know if I see them at TakeOver per se. However, I definitely see something happening soon as far as like Mercedes getting a title push, because she's just returning now. It's not like she's like some schmuck that's being brought up from like the trainees. I wouldn't be shocked.
I mean, it wouldn't be the first time somebody made their a title push right after a debut or return or something. Matt Riddle.
Why not bring him up one day? I want one day. I want one day without that Gumby little schmuck. My podcast.
Allegedly.
I loved him so much. Exactly. Loved him so much, and then he had to ruin all of it.
Allegedly.
Anywho. Exactly. Of course, Vince loves it. Vince doesn't care. Vince is like, there's rumors about you? Honey, get online. Anyways, let's talk about somebody that hurt my feelings even more tonight. Keith Lee. So we had Keith Lee coming up tonight, and basically he comes out, he's like, let's get one thing straight. My brain says, you're losing your title because Saurabh Gurjar from Indus Great American Bash. He said, Dijakovic's going to be fine. He was a big boy. He can make his decisions. No big deal. However, I'm going to kill Karrion Kross because even though he is a big boy and he can make his own decisions, he made the wrong decision. I should have been able to screw him over last week. And that's that, which I respect. Because Keith Lee should have had the opportunity to murder Karrion Kross the moment he hurt his friend. And Keith Lee said bullshit on air twice.
Mm-hmm.
There's $1,000 out of Keith Lee's pocket, and you know what? I respect it. You know why? I'm pretty sure Keith Lee did not need to lose his title. I am almost 100% positive that Keith Lee did not make the choice himself to lose his title.
Oh yeah. Especially since he was on Up, Up, Down, Down and was like, I just won both titles. This was like after last week's episode. He was like, I just won both titles, you know. It's been something I've been like fighting for, stuff like that. And God, it's so sad that not only did they take a title from him, but they're also pushing the narrative that he did it himself, like he volunteered.
It makes me so mad because the fact that, first of all, Keith Lee won these two titles. Episode after Keith Lee wins these two titles, he's like, I won both these titles. I feel great. I'm an American hero. I'm amazing. And I said, you know what, Keith Lee? Yes, you are. Good job, buddy. Congrats. And then on the heels of Saurabh Gurjar spoiling this, and EJ and Duka saying, don't worry, there's two endings. And me making jokes about it for 5 more WWE products as we went through after the two endings were announced. When you cough, your microphone doesn't pick it up just right. So to me, it sounded like you were just like choking.
Oh, I mute my mic for the stream when I cough, so nobody else hears it.
I want everyone to know that if I were strong enough to punch through my wall, you would see my fist coming up over the wall through Mark Sampers. I just want you all to know that. That's the funny part of this. It's the weird part of this too. Anyways,
you're ruining the illusion that we're in separate places right now.
I mean, because my arms are so damn long. They're so long.
If I were Vince, you'd be fired.
No! No, I'd just be fine. Saurabh Gurjar ruined everything. He was only fined. Anyways, So basically, that's why Keith Lee is losing his titles. You cannot convince me otherwise. It would not be happening if that was not spoiled, and also if AEW Dynamite was not taking all of their views, which is really weird to me. I don't know why you'd want to watch AEW over NXT. It's very confusing. I don't care. Anyways, I do care. Anywho, so Keith Lee swears. Keith Lee swears twice on camera. Total respect for the man. He's getting screwed over. I'm getting screwed over. We're all getting screwed over at once. Yeah. And then Cameron Grimes comes out as Karrion Kross is calling out. I spoke wrong. As Keith Lee is calling out Karrion Kross, Cameron Grimes comes out of absolutely nowhere. And announces that something to the moon, blah, blah, blah. Says, I don't know if you can hear me because Keith Lee refuses to acknowledge him. Keith Lee chokeslams him, which is sort of how I feel like encapsulates maybe Keith Lee's entire past 2 weeks, more or less. Hi.
I just want you to know I'm going to be quoting the "to the moon" constantly. It was
like, the thing about it is that like he's done it 3 or so times prior to this, like in succession. It's his thing, but also in succession he's done it like 3 times in the last like 3 episodes.
Mm-hmm.
For some reason tonight, with Keith Lee just like looking like he wanted to murder someone, Cameron Grimes just coming out like, "Hey guys," and then quoting that,
because like
it's like the Randy Orton walkout song, except almost better.
Because like Dijakovic just died last episode, and now you have Cameron Grimes shouting about the moon.
After getting absolutely murdered by Damian Priest, too, mind you. He's now thinking he's going to take on either Keith Lee or Karrion Kross. It's like,
and the best part is, I know we haven't gotten there yet, but when Scarlett shows up, and it's very serious for the two of them, Cameron Grimes is still trying. He's still trying, and Keith just beats his ass while Scarlett's staring at him.
So, if you didn't see the episode, Scarlett then comes out, and she's looking hot as hell, because it's Scarlett. Scarlett always looks hot as hell. It's unbearable. I can't handle it. Need her to stop. It hurts me on the inside. Scarlett comes out, and Cameron Grimes decides to take advantage of this distraction and attacks Keith Lee, who then spirit bombs him basically through the canvas. As Scarlett's still just vibing there, just like doing like her like.
Also, Scarlett looking amazing today, looking absolutely stunning.
We had like one long sleeve, one no sleeve, and I said, "Ma'am, the shoulders need to go home. This is a PG show."
Not by Keith Lee, who's swearing his head off.
Keith Lee also said, "This is PG-13. You get used to it right now." And then Karrion Kross Zoom calls in to the meeting, and basically just says like, "Shit happens. Fight me, I guess." He's like, "Alright," and says that he's going to whoop his ass no matter the time, day, or place. And I said, sure.
Not only does Karrion Zoom call in, but he Zoom calls in like an old man who doesn't know how to work technology. He's like this in the Zoom call. Is it working? Literally
knocking everything over.
Literally zoomed in.
Here. You almost knocked over the tripod. Cat.
I'm so glad you're so entertained by her right now.
She's being a fool, because I watched her nudge her head against this, and I saw the leg just kind of go kick out a little bit. I was like, "Oh, my science." So anyways, we did not get our Keith Lee Karrion Kross match tonight like I wanted. Instead, we got absolutely painful bullshit.
Mm-hmm.
But I assume we'll get Keith Lee versus someone next week, whether it's Cameron Grimes going to the... What is happening? Either Keith Lee versus Cameron Grimes going to the moon, or Keith Lee versus Karrion Kross, but I'm sure that they are saving Karrion Kross and Keith Lee for a takeover.
Absolutely.
I can't imagine that they'd do anything else.
They definitely just threw in Cameron Grimes to kind of keep Keith Lee busy until takeover. That's I can see that as being the storyline until then. Oh, careful.
Well, I'm gonna knock the tripod over. Lord. So after this, we got the best moment of my entire goddamn life. We had Imperium versus Everrise, and that alone is not the best moment of my life. I didn't care for this at all. It felt very weird because Everrise just lost to Breezango, which we have officially decided to call Breezango. Mark was right in the beginning. I was wrong. It's not Fandango. It is Fandango. If anyone has any other opinions on it, I cannot listen to you because I've already made my decision 3 different ways, 3 different times. I can't change it anymore. I've gotten this far. We had Imperium, the tag team title holders, versus Everrise, the team that got beat to the ground by Tyler Breeze, of all people, last week. Seems like a fair pairing. So Bartel immediately comes out, does an arm sub on Martel. Figure that one out on your own. Eichner comes in, arm drags, then arm sub on Martel. Parker gets finally tagged in. Does a slingshot on Eichner. Tries to take on Bartel. Doesn't really work out for him. Eichner does a spinebuster on Parker. A European cut off of Eichner's shoulders to Parker. Bartel got up on the top rope. Okay, Eichner has Parker on his shoulders. My dude just comes out of absolutely nowhere. European uppercuts the boy off Eichner's shoulders into the canvas. Pin. A win, and I'm left sitting there like,
okay,
why did we do this today? I went and got my dessert. I got my little snickerdoodle bar. I was picking at that, and all of a sudden, I hear Imperium on the microphone. I'm like, gotta hurry back in. Hurry from the kitchen back into the living room. They got the microphone, and guess who comes out? Guess who comes out? Undisputed Era featuring Kyle O'Reilly. He is still there. He is still alive. He still has diabetes, but he is still apparently fighting now.
He still has diabetes.
Like, I'm not trying to sound crass, but like that was the whole reason he was like, I'm not going to participate because I've got this pre-existing condition. I'm not wrestling. I'm already at like kind of a disadvantage when it comes to a pandemic. And then the pandemic, which is still going on and horrible in Florida, he was like, right, I guess. Rock on, brother. You know, good for him. That's his life. That's his choice. I benefit from it. If he's happy with what he's doing, then I'll be happy too. That being said, though, all four men, Adam, Roddy, Bobby, Kyle, all 4, come out and just take the piss out of Imperium. Do it as 4 against 2. It's probably not a fair fight. That's fine. I don't care. I was happy. I wasn't complaining. And I think that there's a announcement that I have to make later in regards to this, but I'm not gonna make it now because I don't remember it. I think Imperium's fighting somebody.
Imperium's fighting Bobby Fish and Kyle O'Reilly.
I wasn't gonna spoil it.
Oh, I thought that was announced during this promo or during this event.
No, it
oh.
wasn't.
Oh,
It wasn't
well,
until they announced the Damian Priest thing.
Imperium is fighting a really mysterious tag team.
God dang it. But it's exciting because I think this comes down to the point where that I was trying to make earlier, is that I think they are sort of kind of making it so that like Adam Cole got beaten for the title.
Mm-hmm.
Roddy keeps getting beaten up by whomever he is in the ring with. Kyle is just coming back, and Bobby hasn't done a single thing since early June. No, he came in during July, right? Sort of. he got beaten up in July, so
Yeah,
I think
he got beat up by Dexter Lumis a little bit.
Yeah, because he jumped in during the strap match. So who hasn't done anything productive since probably June, if not late May. I just imagine that maybe they're trying to make it so it's like, oh, all these boys have been beaten down. They've been trying to make a difference in the Undisputed Era. They've been beaten down this whole time.
What is this you got going on?
I don't know. I don't really know. All I know is that I think that they're just trying to make them like seem lower and push them down so they can burst up.
So does this mean Pat McAfee's going to join Imperium?
I hope Pat McAfee perishes.
Also, Malam said that sounded like a Lacey Evans accent.
I noticed that like in the last 5 seconds of doing it, and that's why I stopped. I was like, oh no! Oh, well, can never do that again. If I find another southern accent to a... I'll be like that guy that yelled at Joe Kelly from the Astros dugout.
Mike wants you to say, "Ya nasties" now.
You nasties!
Oh, God.
Second enough. I've had 4 seltzers tonight.
Oh, God.
Anyways.
When I edit this for the YouTube video, I'm gonna just like single out that part and repeat it like 5 times.
Well, that's fine because I've got to have you edit out something else I said earlier, so we're fine.
Okay.
Anyways.
Is it when you gave your social security number? Because that's like the 5th time.
No, I keep doing it. It's just like pasted on my wall so I can read it off to any viewer that comes by. I really don't care about my identity. Please steal it.
No, don't actually. Don't actually, for anyone watching who's considering it.
Actually read my social out.
No, but there's ways to steal your identity without your social.
If somebody was really that dedicated to stealing my identity, I don't think they would need the go-ahead from me being like, yes, please do it.
I don't know. Maybe somebody at home was like, I don't know if I should. I don't know. Steal
my identity and... No, here's the thing. Steal my identity and inherit the $27,000 of debt that I have from college. Go for it. Live your dream, buddy. I don't give a shit. I've got nothing going on. It's like I've got like houses and like credit. I do have actually a really nice credit score.
Anyway.
I pay my bill off every month. When Discover reminds me to. It's not often. Anyway, so we have Finn backstage.
Oh.
So Finn's minding his little business. He's backstage. He's like by all the, I don't know, the boxes and shit that they use to store equipment. As Finn walks away, who's there? Dexter Lumis, of course.
Oh, God. I
love it, man.
I love him too. He is wonderful. I love the whole like childhood innocence kind of thing, but also like the child who's been abused, because that's kind of his whole thing. The tortured artist.
I would just like to imagine that he's a child who's been subjected to his own demons. I don't want to imagine that something bad happened to him. I just want to be like, grew up with some chemical imbalance, and that's fine.
Like he saw the Slab episode of Courage the Cowardly Dog.
And it never left him.
Yeah.
I love Dexter. I really do. I want the best for him. However.
So the match of the night.
And then there's...
Oh, wait.
There's still a little further to go.
I missed writing down the Finn promo. Oh, I can't believe I missed that.
I did. Anyway. Question is, there was also that promo with William Regal that neither of us actually paid attention to, but it had something to do with the
I guess we're gonna have to wait.
Oh. No. I'm ready. I'm here. I'm ready. So William Regal did a promo. Mark and I were not necessarily not paying attention, but more so like I had 2 baseball games on in front of me, and William Regal started talking. And usually William Regal starts talking, and then Tom Phillips repeats what he said because he knows that none of us want to actually hear William Regal speak.
Mm-hmm.
However, Tom Phillips assumed that we were all listening this time and did not repeat anything. William Regal said that he will not be bullied into making a championship match and that those need to be earned. So Karrion Kross will not be fighting Keith Lee next week as far as we can tell.
Takeover.
That was basically what the promo was about. It was just him saying, like, I'm not going to do it just because Karrion wants me to. Mm-hmm. However, I want him to. Keith wants him to. But that does not say that we can't have a Karrion Keith match next week. It just means it will not be a title match.
Mm-hmm.
So that's important to differentiate.
I feel like they'd save that matchup though for the title match. Because normally,
I wouldn't mind just.
Normally, you'd have 2 wrestlers fight before a title match if there's going to be like something fishy going on before. Kind of like normally any fight with Bayley or Sasha, how like they do something dirty in a precursor and then the title match comes. You think they're going to do something different, but they really don't. I feel like if it's going to be the same exact match that we get at TakeOver, they're not going to do it.
What if? Hear me out. Hear me out on this.
Mm-hmm.
Keith Lee, Karrion Kross next week. Crazy. Keith Lee's kind of in like a position where he's like, shit, I might actually die this time. Dominic interferes. Then, week after, we have Keith being like, hey, Dom, that was kind of screwed up. Like, I didn't interfere in your match when you didn't want me to. You shouldn't have interfered in mine. Week after that, I don't know, dates probably take over at that point, right? Then we have Keith and Karrion.
I don't think Dijakovic would interfere, especially after he was very adamant about Keith not interfering.
You never want to follow my ideas.
Mike said he could see Keith Lee and Mia Yim versus Scarlett and Karrion. Which, it seems like the consensus in the chat right now is that they're against it, but I'd be kind of for a mixed tag, although we've never really seen Scarlett wrestle. I have a feeling she's not really a wrestler herself. She's more of the frontman for Karrion.
I would not decline to see Scarlett fighting. I would not decline to see such things.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if we will. But I wouldn't complain about it. However, I can see it. I can see at the end of the day, I can see Karrion and Keith at TakeOver.
Yeah, that.
I can see that.
That will be the main event match. I can almost guarantee it. It's either going to be that or the 5-man ladder match, which I already know that the 5-man ladder match is going to be disappointing.
It depends how they set up the Karrion Keith feud. That is the NXT title.
Yeah.
I would imagine that would be like numero uno.
Well,
first thing to worry about.
At Extreme Rules, the WWE champion wasn't the main event. The Swamp Fight was.
Yeah, okay, and they made mistakes.
Yeah, which they always do.
Because that's the writers for Raw and SmackDown, whereas we're talking about the writers for NXT. Who might not make dumb mistakes.
Well, okay, how about this? NXT TakeOver, the last one. the match between Adam Cole and Velveteen Dream was not the title fight. It wasn't anywhere near the title fight, I don't think.
I have no recollection. However, I will agree with you. Also, can we discuss the fact that, like, we do shots for things that we get wrong?
Mm-hmm.
Now we're going to do a pay-per-view for NXT and a pay-per-view for SmackDown/Raw 2 days in a row. Can we buy IVs?
If you mean mainlining liquor, then sure.
Every wrong prediction is just a squeeze to the IV bag of wine.
Mm-hmm. Where are we even at? We didn't even get to the Bronson.
Jake Atlas, we were very.
You missed the Bronson Reed promo.
Alright. Dude, I don't like Bronson Reed. I'm sorry. I'm mad about last week still. I'm not gonna get over that.
That was a very obvious push. Like, that was them saying, we want Bronson to get something.
It didn't make sense. It's like, I get it. He's a big guy. Getting little guys. If he didn't win, I'd be confused. And also impressed, actually, but that doesn't seem to be WWE's, like, top of the line concern at this point.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, I didn't write down the Bronson Reed promo. I didn't care about the Bronson Reed promo. And I don't think anyone should.
Mm-hmm.
As the host, I've decided to guide people's visions in this certain direction.
So you want to move on to the next fight, which was also a very underwhelming fight, especially considering how Swerve fought prior to that.
You thought this was underwhelming?
Yeah, absolutely.
Really? No. All right.
If you look back at the fight between Swerve and Johnny Gargano, he was a completely different person there. Whereas here, it was mostly Jake Atlas. I mean, Swerve won, but Jake Atlas, I feel like, did the best. Swerve was just, he was there. He was there to let Jake Atlas shine a little bit and get the pin at the end.
So we basically started off with, like, two guys going at each other, just sort of trying to break one another down. We get flying head scissors from Swerve. And then Atlas slammed him into the canvas. And moved way too fast for any of Swerve's moves, really. That was kind of like the whole, I think, selling point in a way, in a weird way for the match, was that, like, Atlas was too fast for Swerve, and Swerve's really strong in comparison to Atlas, and it was like thing. I don't know. Atlas managed to double foot dropkick off of Swerve, and then he did a lot. He really did a lot up until the point where Swerve managed to dropkick Atlas directly in the face. And then Atlas managed a bulldog, which is always pretty impressive to see. Atlas went for the cartwheel DDT, but Swerve stopped him and then kind of tangled him in the ropes, kicked him in the whole ass noggin, which I never like seeing that. That always makes me a little like the headache central right there. And then Swerve did the JML driver to Atlas into the canvas and pinned him and won. Admittedly, it was, I guess, looking back, it was not the most enthralling fight, but I think it was just a weird place to put it.
Yeah.
Because it gave us, I think they gave us about like 20 to 15 minutes for the main event.
Yeah.
Plus a promo.
The main event definitely should have gotten more time.
Yeah. And because it was, it sort of felt like they just kind of were like, oh shit, we have this fight too. We gotta figure this out somehow. And they were like, all right, shove it in here. Shove it in here.
Yeah. And it's also weird that, like, they kind of fought each other to fight the heel, and they're both faces. Like, it doesn't make any sense why they fought in the first place. They could have been like, okay, we're gonna team up. and take on Legado del Fantasma, because we know you go into a singles match with Santos Escobar, his two other guys are going to intervene somehow. You know that. It's happened before they revealed Legado. It's going to happen again. So I feel like unless you're coming in with a tag team, you're not really going to get close at all.
It's interesting you say that, because I kind of thought about that too. It made sense that Swerve would win because they did a whole ass promo about Swerve wanting to take on Legado. At the same time, why not make a stable, like a temporary stable? Why not make a temporary stable of the three men who clearly want to fight him, which is Swerve, Atlas, Drake, versus Legado and his two men, with Joaquin Weil and Mendoza. Finally remember both their names. But it's like, why don't you make like a temporary stable with the three of them versus Legado, and then it's a fair fight? Why is that not the most immediate option that you come across?
Also, this kind of shits on Jake Atlas' character, because he got the piss beaten out of him by Santos. Like, he should be the next one fighting him. Like, him, Drake Maverick, at the very least, should go in together. No idea why Swerve is the one going after this. There's no reason for Swerve to be doing this. I'm not gonna...
Swerve... Go on.
I'm not gonna say that it's bad that we're getting Swerve in this matchup. It's just very weird. No idea where Drake Maverick is right now. After the stable he had with Breezango, he just kind of disappeared. It's
Takeover.
Yeah, they could do something with Takeover. That would be really cool. But even then, would it just be Drake Maverick versus Santos? Because if it's stable versus stable, who gets a title? Whoever pins, and then you have Santos win because they can't decide who wants to pin.
You know, you bring up good points. I don't really know what could happen here. It was weird that Swerve came back after a bit of a hiatus, take on Johnny Gargano, and I was like, oh, cool, singles. Okay. And then right after that, return that beautiful fight, by the way, that fight that like was really impressive.
Yeah.
They were like, oh, he's gonna take on Legado, who's in theory part of a tag team. It doesn't really make a ton of sense to me.
Yeah, it's weird. Mike just said it's very weird that he's not getting thrown into the NA title mix-up.
That's kind of what I thought would happen too, because like at this point, there's a ton of people in NXT, but there's only a certain amount of people, like at least left now, that I would expect, including the spoiler for tonight, that would challenge for this title, which is Damian Priest, Cameron Grimes, and after Johnny and Roddy, since Roddy was representing Undisputed Era, that knocks all of them out. The only people that like I can kind of think of will be Damian, Cameron, Karrion.
I don't think Karrion. He's gonna be busy with that title.
I'm saying like eligible singles men. Eligible bachelors of NXT, if you will.
Well, you have someone who can represent Breezango.
Right, okay.
Trying to think tag teams that can be represented. I doubt Imperium would. And they...
Yeah.
I don't know.
When you consider the fact that there's supposed to be 5 men fighting in this ladder match at TakeOver, right now we have the final decision for 2 of the 5 men. There's 3 other matches. That means that they have to find 9 other people. The fact that like Swerve isn't in that running as far as we know and is more interested in going after Legato is like doesn't make sense. After Swerve's beautiful showing against Johnny.
Also, Mike mentioned Birch/Lorcan going into the mix, and it's funny you should mention that.
Like, you're spoiling my notes just like Mark does.
Do you want to move on to the next promo, the last promo?
We're quite literally about to get to. It's very funny because I think this happened last podcast too. I think either Mike or Malam made a comment like, "Oh, what's going to happen next?" Last NXT, and we were like, "Well, we're literally about to get to that bullet point, actually," because they just after this match, they interviewed Damian Priest, and Damian Priest, unlike the very cinematic Finn Balor promo for his match this evening, Priest was just interviewed by Sarah and mentioned that there was a promo that we missed, and I don't really care about it that much. So, which is Damian Priest is going against Ridge Holland. Weird name. Ridge Holland's from NXT UK. He's coming over to NXT USA. On USA. Anyways. Sorry, that was bad. But he is going against Ridge Holland from NXT UK. And Lorcan. Which means Damian Priest is a dead man because Oney Lorcan's out of his goddamn head, but...
Oh, yeah. And I'm sure Ridge Holland is too, since he seems like the Cockney, rough guy.
He's a rugby player, dude. He's out of his head.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. So, yeah, Damian Priest is a dead man. And Oney Lorcan might walk out with all of his teeth. We're not sure.
It's funny because he's also a rugby player, and I've met a couple rugby players in my time on this earth. One of them specifically, a man that I worked with when I was very young, at my first job. I've never met a man so just not mentally here. At the same time, like, I could 100% see him going out onto a field and just being like, let's knock some skulls together. So I don't trust rugby players when it comes to wrestling. I feel like they have no regard for their own mental health, and I'm excited to see where this goes. I really am. I think that we need more nutcases on NXT.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Definitely.
And plus, regardless of what comes of this, if Ridge Holland is officially moving over to the American NXT, then I think that could be an interesting little Timmy Thatch kind of thing or something like that.
Yeah.
A little pal ship.
Especially after they can't go too much longer with the Thatcher Lorcan storyline, so I'm sure they're going to bring in someone else to throw in that mix. Especially after...
They can go as long as they want with Timmy Thatch unsanctioned murder time.
Yeah. They just got to change up who he's murdering.
It's literally always Edge's son, I can tell. Because you always see the blonde ponytail and you're like, baby Edge, no.
Yeah, baby Edge.
Don't hurt him.
Do you want
His triceps are stronger than others.
You want to move on to the final fight of the night?
Before the final of the night, I just want to reiterate that we have next week, because this is when they normally do their promos for next week.
Hmm.
We have next week, next Wednesday, Rhea Ripley versus Dakota Kai. We have Damian, Oney Lorcan, Ridge Holland, all fighting for the shot at the North American title. And actually, I think also last Wednesday when I think it was still Mike who mentioned this. It may have been Mike or Malam. Somebody was like, I think that like it was either Dexter or Tim. They were like, they should give him the chance to go for the North American title.
Mm-hmm.
And then we were 5 seconds away from being like, well, actually. So I think it was Tim Thatcher. So that was happening next week. I'm glad that you guys are better at predicting this stuff than I am, because I keep getting blindsided by all of this constantly, and it hurts a little bit. However, I am rooting for Oni.
You also missed the tag team match between Imperium and Undisputed Era. with Kyle O'Reilly.
It's because it's my third bullet.
I
only got through 1 or 2.
I didn't know you were only at your second bullet.
I will tell you when I am done.
Go, give me the numerical bullet that you're at each time.
You're still... I'll say 1 of 3 or something. But yes, we do have Imperium versus Undisputed Era, and by Undisputed Era we mean Bobby Fish, boy, and Kyle O'Reilly, my other boy, but not my
diabetic boy.
He is my hometown boy. We're both from upstate New York. We know how bad it is. We've both been to Crossgates Mall. It's horrible.
Moam asked for your notes update. Last we checked, you were at 105 pages.
See, the problem now is that I did what Mark asked me to do, and or suggested I do, rather, which is I have been splitting it between, I made a document for SmackDown, Raw, and NXT, and pay-per-views. However, I did learn that I take the most notes for NXT. I don't know if that's because I typed "I hate this" 20 times for the upcoming match. Because I know no one's going to read my notes, I type the most irreverent bullshit in the world. I did learn, I did the math, I take the most notes for NXT, the second most notes for Raw, and obviously the least amount of notes I take is for SmackDown, because 9 times out of 10 when I'm watching SmackDown, I just want it to end.
Yeah,
I want to be nice about it, but I can't be.
It's nobody's fault but the writers.
However, come SmackDown, I will add up all the notes that I have taken at that point, because it's definitely over 105 now. It's probably 120 at this point.
Oh, God.
I did type "I hate this" 15 times. This match made me feel things I didn't want to feel today. I was having a good day. I was. This is a lot. So we had Dexter Lumis, my sweet slithering boy. I don't know why he slithers across the mat. I'll respect it regardless because he's having fun.
His legs break sometimes.
That's what it seems like. The lower half of his spine is just gone. Versus Finn Balor. Versus Tim Tam Thatchy Thatch. Which I can't say that fast when my mouth is dry. Which it is. So we start with a shoulder to Finn's face. Tim uppercuts Finn. And Finn manages to throw Thatcher out of the ring, which kind of made me feel like, oh, maybe we've got a chance here. Maybe Finn Balor's going to get what he deserves. Maybe Santa Claus is real. Maybe not. Dexter Lumis then suicide dives out of the ring. Lands on nobody.
He just lands on his feet. Of Finn
and Tim. He's standing there. He's just like, Well, this is weird.
Oh, it was at that point that I was like, I have a feeling who's gonna win, just based on who they're giving the most moments to. But anyway,
I'm not upset necessarily. I'm upset because I lost something I needed, but that's fine.
But yeah. I know what you're saying, how they're not giving Finn, what he deserves a shot at the title, and they're not giving that to him at all. He was there for the triple threat for the NXT title. Oh no, for the US title. But he was kind of shorted on that end.
Didn't look good that day.
Oh yeah, no, it's been a while since he looked good. I think the last time he looked anywhere near good was against Damian Priest, but again, that's against Damian Priest. And yeah, he's not going to the main roster. He's been very adamant about staying in NXT.
Someone say that?
Yeah, Mike suggested Finn versus Fiend, which would be a great matchup.
So it's funny you say that, Mike, because I was kind of hoping that he would go back to the main roster sometime soon because he did amazingly. He did amazingly versus
Seth Rollins.
Seth versus Eddie. Yeah. It was really good when he was in Raw. A lot of people are talking about the fact that this might be a permanent move for him to NXT because he, although his face defies the concept, he is a bit older, and this schedule means that he doesn't have to travel as much. He doesn't have as rigorous of a schedule. He gets to be home as more often than he would be with Raw or NXT. I don't want that to be the reason why he staying in NXT when he could be like a household name as far as wrestling is concerned. But I think that's a reason why he's staying at NXT. As much as it upsets me, and I'm not happy about it, but I'd love to see him come back up. I don't think that's going to happen until. Oh, that's ever going to happen.
I wish though, but
yeah, I think we all wish. It hurts knowing how good he was, especially in Japan. It hurts knowing how good he was, and then to see him kind of getting slighted in a weird way. Oh, makes me upset personally. I don't know if we're ever going to see anything else though. Finn gets uppercut, and then a backdrop driver from Loomis to Finn because everyone's just beating up on Finn at this point. But then Dexter throws Thatcher out of the ring and got a leg up on Dexter and slapped Thatcher. And then Thatcher said, "Stop." Hit him with his forearm. We got a belly-to-belly suplex from Thatcher to Dexter Loomis. And it was interesting, at least, to see Dexter and Timothy in the same ring. I haven't seen that yet in a while. I think that was a fun little experiment.
Oh, yeah.
I'm a little annoyed now because I'm not going to go into the outcome, but it ruins part of this for me. There were options. There were options. There were so many options that we could have gone with, but we didn't. Anyways.
I think I mentioned this last time, but this was definitely not the match for Timothy Thatcher to contest for a title for, because the way Timothy Thatcher wrestles, it's not meant for a triple threat. He's
mentioned that tonight. Mentioned that tonight.
You mentioned that tonight?
You mentioned that tonight.
Oh,
we were watching.
Yeah. While we were watching, yeah, because he works on guys in the ring and like gets them to submit, but it's like a process. It's not like a very quick moment and then a tap 1, 2, 3. It's something. He degrades somebody in the ring, and it's not gonna be. It's not gonna be possible if you have that third person lurking around, as we saw several times during this fight. Which is unfortunate because Timothy should get an actual title shot. Not more than Finn, though, unfortunately. I feel like Finn's being, as we've already mentioned 1,000 times. But anyway.
It is a good point, and I think that's probably... I love talking. I love using words. I think that it makes more sense now that they're putting Timmy Thatch in one of these challenges versus it would have kind of been interesting to see him versus someone versus Oni. Now that we see Oni's in a different pool, so to speak. It makes sense why they had Tim in one of them and Oni in another. It's like that sort of gives like the separate comparison.
Yeah.
That being said, I don't think Oni Lorcan's going to win the match next week either because of the same exact thing that you're saying right now. Because Oni Lorcan has an almost identical attack method. He's a submission-based wrestler. He's not going to needs to have a whole night to work on somebody versus work on somebody, get beaten off, back to working on somebody, maybe work on the other person. Like it's not as easy.
Oh yeah.
That being said, we had a jawbreaker to Tim Tam from Phineas. Yes. I'm not going to call him Fergal.
I will call him Fergal.
We had a very embarrassing missed dropkick from Loomis to Tim Tam Thatcher. It was very sad. He went up for it and he just fell back down because Tim just kind of stared at him like, not gonna do anything, but okay. Timmy punches Finn's spine, then does a spine buster to Finn, and another elbow. And Finn's looking a little sleepy at this point. Got a sick bulldog from Dexter to Tim Tam, and I love the bulldog. It's one of my favorite moves. And Finn managed to do a Pele kick in like his last moments of energy, and then an elbow to Tim's sternum. And I kind of thought maybe, hey, looks like we might be getting Finn back. Like maybe this is like how the wrestling should be going. Like Finn looks like shit for the first 2/3, and then like the last third, he's like, actually, I'm Finn Balor. I'm the Demon Prince, and I'm here to save the day. But he doesn't. He gets a sling blade from Dexter. He then looks like absolute crap. Goes for his finisher. Nothing. Tim takes advantage of it. Dexter slithers. So he goes for his... Tim's going for a finisher. Tim's like, hey, get off those ropes, buddy. And then in the bottom corner of your screen, it's a very Drew McIntyre Extreme Rules moment. In the bottom corner of your screen, you just see Dexter's little leggies slithering out of the ring onto the ground.
No. It was Thatcher. Thatcher came up behind him.
No. This is the point where Dexter slithered out of the ring. I think Thatcher was in the middle of like the apron, and Finn was on the ropes going for something. I know that we just saw Dexter kind of slide out to the ground. Talking about Finn looked like he was setting up for a coup de grace at that point, and then Timothy came up behind him. Yes. Mm-hmm. But no, we saw Dexter's little leggies sliding out of the ring because the camera was not on him. Mm-hmm. It's just like, and then we get a spinebuster to Tim Tam from Dexter. Dexter's got the nice sleeper hold. He's petting him. He's going to bed. It's all good. Coup de grace from Finn. Doesn't help anybody. No one's happy at this point. And then Tim says, hey, I know you dislocated your shoulder 4 years ago. What if you dislocated your ankle? No big deal, right? Ankle lock on Finn. Looking kind of painful because I don't trust Dexter or Finn.
Yep.
Tim. Yep. I don't trust him to stop when it's broken. Dexter Loomis says, no. I also love Finn, and I also love victory. While you do an ankle lock on Finn, I can do a sleeper hold on you. And Tim Tam Thatchy Thatch, or as I wrote, Tim Tam Ramalama Ding Dong, knocks the fuck out because Dexter Loomis has choked him into oblivion. He has no blood flow to his brain anymore.
So you managed to type, what was it? What'd you type for Tim Tam?
Tam Ramalama Ding Dong.
But yet you can't.
And I can't.
Yeah, you can't type Sasha at all, but you can type that.
For the entire time, I wrote Finn with one N and Dex, D-E-X, but I wrote Tim Tam multiple times, and, of course, Tim Tam Ramalama Ding Dong.
But
Fingers know some of the keys, but Sasha is not one of them.
Going back to the finish of the match, although we all kind of expected Finn to win because he's like the higher legend status here, Dexter winning, I think, was done in like the best way possible. Not only was it like a really cool finish, how everyone was kind of in a lock in some kind of way, but he won by knocking out Timothy Thatcher, the guy known for his grappling and his submissions. He made that guy submit. So that shows off how strong Dexter Loomis is. But I don't know why Timothy just didn't let go of Finn. Like, I feel like they could have just let go and then got Dexter off of him. I don't know. It wasn't a great fight, but I liked how Dexter looked.
So, first things first. When I finally have a job and I can go into an office again, I want Finn's walkout song to be playing when I walk into the office. I specifically need that. That's totally not an important point, but I've thought about this for a second.
I think it's pretty important.
Too.
I think it's pretty important.
It's fair. Originally, it was going to be John Cena's walkout song, but then I've decided that this seems a little more dramatic, and I'm a pretty dramatic person.
Not so. Randy Orton's?
I see. Okay, so
is Randy Orton for when you're fired?
Exactly. Right. Randy Orton's song is only when I'm fired. I am walking out disgraced because I got like naked at the Christmas party or something. That's my meeting after New Year's Day, and they're just like, "Hey, Liz, so at the Christmas party you got like trashed, and we didn't need that." So, and then I walk out to I hear voices in my head.
They talk to me.
Counsel me.
Oh.
Because they counsel me. Understand. They talk to me. Also, I will be doing spoken word poetry of Randy Orton's song next time we stream. Please be tuned in. That's not true. That's a lie. However, I do need Finn Balor's song to be my entrance music to the next job I walk into. Being said. The reason that Tim Tam Thatchy Thatch Ram Lam Ding Dong did not let go of Finn's ankle while Dexter was choking him out was because there was a minute left in the episode and they had to end it.
Oh, you know what? Yeah, true. Oh, I always forget about that. I always forget. I forgot that the Swerve Jake Atlas fight was more important than this.
They ran out of time for this. They ran out of time. I'm sorry. At the very least, we saw Finn Balor, who was constantly embarrassed on NXT, embarrassed as opposed to somebody like Adam Cole or somebody I also care about is Finn Balor. So I'm upset. I'm not happy about it. I just need Finn Balor to be treated the way that he deserves to be treated, which is, with a title. Crazy, I know. I don't think I'm asking for that much, especially when you consider that this is a fictional, a created wrestling scenario. Anything could happen, and they're still just like, Finn Balor. It's like,
so you want to get into our promo of the night?
Are we going to that? Are we going to our best of the nights?
I think so.
And just jump right.
Do you have a sign for that? Oh God!
Look at that! Look at that! Look at that! Look at that! Wait.
Still the index card on there. Yep, you got it.
But guess what? You fool! You fool! This one's yellow. You know why it's yellow?
Why? Because NXT?
It's NXT. Red one's on the back of this.
Is there a blue one too?
Actually, I don't know if I have blue index cards.
Anyway, promo of the night. You did a great job with the signs. They look great.
Because my hair's so fucking thick.
So, promos. So, first one was the recap of the Pat McAfee show, which was just a recap, nothing worthy. Then you had the interview with Dakota Kai featuring Rhea Ripley. It was just one of those interviews. Then you had an interview with Timothy Thatcher. Nothing special besides the appearance of Dexter Lumis in the background, looking very menacing.
It was cute. It was cute.
Yeah. Then you had the promo featuring Undisputed Era, kind of showing that they're back, which, wonderful to see. Wonderful.
Oh, little Kyle! Kyle! The boy!
Diabetic boy!
Aw, I hope he's okay. I really do hope that he's, like, not sacrificing his health just to this.
Oh yeah, me too.
It makes me kind of nervous, honestly, because I'm just like, the whole reason you were gone was because of the pandemic, and the pandemic's still happening. Please go home, Kyle.
Mm-hmm.
He's also a grown-ass man, so he can make his own decisions, I guess.
And then after that, we had the promo with Keith Lee being confronted by Scarlett and a cameo from Cameron Grimes. Amazing little promo that had Scarlett looking fantastic. You had Cameron Grimes with his ass getting beat. And you had Keith Lee trying to avenge his friend. And you had Karrion Kross zooming in like an old man. Is it on?
Jerry, can you hear me?
And then you had the promo with Bronson Reed, which was overly produced. Then you had the interview with Damian Priest, and somewhere in between that is the Finn Balor promo. I mean, I have no choice but to pick the Keith Lee promo. Like that had everything. That was amazing. You had Cameron Grimes getting his ass beat while Scarlett's trying to talk to Keith Lee.
Man.
I know you want Undisputed Era. I know you do.
I chose the Undisputed Era. I don't just want it, I've chosen them.
Really?
Kyle's back, baby. And Kyle not only came back, but Kyle came back and psyched up the rest of his team. He got Adam's fucking thinking in line. In line! Adam, after yelling at Pat McAfee for absolutely no good reason. Several good reasons, however. Kyle got him back on the straight and narrow. He got Bobby with his head back in the game. Not Bobby, sorry. He got Bobby
Yep.
back on board because, you know, it's Bobby, and Bobby's
an old
loyal
man.
as shit.
Oh.
Loyal as shit. Anywho. He got Roddy back in line because Roddy was like, "Oh, I got defeated by Johnny Gargano. Shit sucks, man." Kyle said, "Who cares, bitch?" You know what? Respect the shit out of that.
Okay.
I want to see Undisputed Era as the Undisputed Era doing Undisputed Era bullshit type things.
Okay. So, I'm not going to turn away from the Keith Lee promo, but it's okay. We can have them both as the promo of the night.
I'm pumped up. Kyle got me pumped. I just pulled my hair up, trying to pull my shirt back down. Oh my god. Oh.
Featuring Cameron Grimes. Sorry, this is a long promo name.
And just
there we go.
Shorten Undisputed Era to UE.
Nah.
I
Also, chat has decided as a tiebreaker that the Keith Lee promo is the winner.
No one supports me. That's fine. It's fine. I'll just sit here with my handmade signs. I'll feel good about myself because I made these signs.
You got a credit on your passion for the Undisputed Era promo.
Thank you. Listen, I'll die on that hill. I'll die on the Undisputed Hill.
Fair. It's a good hill to die on.
It is. Want to go on the fighter of the night? I'm choosing Kyle O'Reilly.
Okay. To the moon!
I do respect Cameron Grimes' passion to just be like, Scarlett's out, I'm gonna attack him. If that was gonna do anything.
Yeah. Okay, so Fighter of the Night. We started off tag team match, Io Shirai and Tegan Nox versus Dakota Kai and Candice LeRae. I mean, who else am I going to pick for this match besides Io Shirai? I mean, she was outstanding. The best female wrestler that NXT has right now. She is wonderful. She shined. She flew. She's the best. And then you had Johnny Gargano versus Roderick Strong. Sorry. Easily the most even matchup that we had today. Roddy was looking fantastic, but Johnny, my God, was he looking fantastic. I didn't think he could look better than he did during that Swerve match, but yet he somehow looked like unstoppable. I am constantly impressed with Johnny Gargano. I think he was my pick last NXT, and the NXT before that, because last NXT was the triple threat for. I picked Johnny Gargano. You picked Roddy. But that for. What was that?
I'd die for Roddy.
I know you would. But I hope not today. But Johnny is definitely my pick for this fight. He is quickly becoming my favorite male wrestler in NXT. He is just based on his skill alone. And then he also combined that with a nice mix of character too. A great wrestler is not only one who can deliver the moves, but they can also have those moments where their opponent is on the ground to do something as opposed to just stand there. Johnny does a really good job at filling that time with little character, whether it be gestures or taunting in some kind of way. Johnny always fills that with something interesting. And then moving on to the next fight, you had Shotzi versus Mercedes. I think Shotzi looked the best here. Mercedes won, and she did a good job. But I think the way Shotzi fought today opened up for the better or the more impressive technique. But I don't think she holds up to any of the wrestlers that fought today. And then you had Imperium versus Everrise. Marcel Bartel, I think, was the best one here. I think the only reason I had him, because it wasn't a very impressive fight at all. You just had Marcel and Fabian kind of just beating on these enhancement talent. But I think Marcel had that drop kick. Oh no, it was the European uppercut on the guy on Fabian's shoulders. So that's really the only reason I have him as a pick for this fight, but he doesn't compare with anyone else today, besides maybe Shotzi. Then you had Swerve versus Jake Atlas. Jake Atlas was really the only impressive one in this fight. Swerve, he hit a mark against Johnny Gargano that made him someone to look out for right now. But I think today didn't do him justice at all. Even though he won, he didn't look like he was winning. I think Jake looked the best in this match. But I'm still confused as to why we had this fight in general. So it's hard for me to pick anything out of this fight. And then lastly, we had Dexter versus Timothy versus Fergal. The best looking one in this fight was Dexter. I mean, he always combines his fighting with his character perfectly, especially when he had that suicide. Was it suicide drop? Is that what it is? Suicide drop? Is that what it's called?
Dive?
Suicide dive. When he had that suicide dive. Yeah, when he landed in between Finn and Timothy and kind of had that moment. Yeah, suicide dive. And we didn't see his character how we normally do, how he's kind of a masochist a little bit, and is more menacing than he is really strong. but he was definitely the best out of this fight, which is unfortunate because I want to see Finn doing amazingly. I want to see him on top for once. I mean, he's had 4 matches since, I think, May. 2 wins, 2 losses. That's it. And one of them was against Damian Priest, so... But out of everyone today, the one who shined the most, who impressed the most, who was the best fighter of the night, the best performer of the night, was Johnny Gargano. It was Io was a very close second, Roddy being third, but Johnny managed to take everything that Roddy did and put it against him.
So I have bigger problems with the fact that you said the most twice, then you didn't use it a third time in your layout. That was kind of embarrassing for you, honestly, as a as far as rhymes go. Yeah, I've got problems with that, and it makes me.
Whoa, let's real quick. I know who you're gonna pick already. It's gonna be Cameron Grimes.
Oh, absolutely! That man was an opportunist, and he went in there and he took over Keith Lee when Keith Lee wasn't expecting it, regardless of the spirit bomb or not.
Do you think he went to the moon?
I love that your mic cut out for that whole part. I could just hear the wall. I mean, he was so loud I could hear him through the wall several blocks away because we don't live in the same place, and that's why we're doing this.
Oh yeah.
Socially just. Anywho, I gotta fucking pick Johnny. I don't want to pick Johnny. I don't want to pick Johnny. It is like, it grates on the every last nerve that I own to pick this stupid, poorly haircut dum-dum of a man.
He does have a really bad haircut.
Don't want to pick him. His haircut is horrible. I hate it so much. I did not hate it until you pointed it out to me. I thought he was a cutie pie. And you point out the haircut and where like his hair was like cut down to, and I said, oh boy, okay, so I hate it. However, yes, I have to pick him because he's a schmuck and he did amazingly. And did he hurt the man I love? Yes, I love Roddy. I think Roddy's an amazing wrestler. I think Roddy did so much tonight, and if we were ranking everyone, which I know you love to do, if we were ranking everyone from tonight, Roddy would definitely be second to Johnny for me.
Mm-hmm.
Because Roddy also did amazingly tonight. Roddy wasn't by no means like letting me down in any way.
Now, I'm wondering why you don't have Io as your second.
Because I have an emotional attachment to Roddy and I don't know how to stop myself.
At least you're honest.
That's why our best of the nights should never be taken for gospel, because I've got emotional ties.
Your camera froze right at a moment. You're just like this, and then your camera unfroze like this. it was a very funny cut. But yes, Johnny Gargano is our fighter of the night, not our fight of the night. Unless we're including internal struggles here.
Johnny Gargano versus himself. So, do you want to discuss our best fight of the night?
Our best fight of the night.
The best of the night section.
Yes. It's going to be from 2 weeks ago when Robert Stone got his ankle run over by Shotzi.
I also, while we go over the best fight of the night, Malam MBC, if we are saying the Malam part wrong, can you please let us know? That's been on my mind for a while. I feel like I might be mispronouncing that. I feel like we might be mispronouncing that. If we're saying it wrong, could you just tell us? I don't want to keep saying it wrong if we're saying it wrong.
That's fair.
In the meantime, Mike, would you like to go through the fight of the night?
Yes, the fight of the night. Okay. So, he said we are pronouncing it wrong, but it's okay.
I figured figured we were. How do we pronounce it? Tell us.
So while Milam,
Milam.
that
Okay.
thought popped in my head. I was like, maybe it's pronounced Milam. Turns out I was right
You said
about
it
that.
Milam once. You said it Milam once, and I was like, all right, sure, Milam. And then as the days went on, I was like, I feel like maybe we're saying it not right.
Mm-hmm.
Milam. Okay. Good to know. I'll remember that.
But okay, so fight of the night. So the highest rated fight of the night, according to my point system, on average, was the first fight. Very weird. The lowest rated was, I think, the Johnny Gargano versus Roddy fight. Because
what system are you working off of?
It's based on wins and losses, title wins, title losses, main event wins, main event losses. And Roddy has the worst ranking of them all, so he really dragged down that fight.
How dare you?
How dare WWE for not giving him? Also, your mic really cut out, so it sounded like you growled when you said that.
I have to pull my hair back. I was sweating.
But don't blame me. Blame WWE for not giving Roddy. Okay.
I can't see the WWE.
So,
as the English say, WWE.
So the first fight, the tag team for a chance. Oh no, not a chance to win. It was just a grudge match, I think, between Io, Tegan versus Dakota and Candice for some reason. It was a good fight. Don't know why Candice was involved. Weird that we didn't get Raquel. I kind of like the transition it went into to Dakota Kai kind of not wanting a tag team anymore. She just wants the singles title. I liked how that transitioned. Wish we'd gotten kind of a transition into Io and Tegan fighting alongside each other, like a kind of lead into that. It was, the match was fun. But nobody performed like Io did. It was a very one-sided match. Had somebody else performed better, I think that match would have gotten a little higher. But that match was all Io. And then Johnny Gargano versus Roddy. This was a fantastic match. Like I already said, as evenly matched as it can get, but you had Johnny pulling the more counters than Roddy. Definitely want to see more Roddy after this. Always want to see more Johnny. It had a great transition from the previous week, how we had the triple threat into this, how that ended in kind of like a little disagreement between Johnny and Roddy on how that fight ended. And this also kind of leads into Roddy proving that he's a good wrestler, because he didn't go down easily. He was he went down fighting like to his last breath, and then you had Johnny, who performed amazingly, who, I mean, what can he do right now besides go for the NXT title? I want to see him do something substantial. And this fight was just, it blew me away. And then after that, you had Shotzi versus Mercedes. Easily the biggest downgrade you could have gotten, because you had that amazing fight, and then you had this fight, which seemed like just enhancement talent. Then after that, you had Imperium versus Everrise. Again, another enhancement talent fight. Everrise, I don't get what their shtick is. I don't understand them. Imperium, I'm really excited for their match with Undisputed Era. I think we're going to see a better Imperium than we saw against Everrise and Breezango. But this fight was nothing to compare. And then you had Swerve versus Jake Atlas. again, why did this fight happen? There's no reason for this fight to have happened at all. And lastly, we had the Dexter Lumis versus Timothy Thatcher versus Finn Balor fight that disappointed all of us. Not only because the person who should have won didn't win, as was mentioned perfectly in the chat, it was a mix of styles that wasn't really executed well. We should have gotten kind of the Dexter Lumis that likes to kind of abuse himself and likes to take hits. We should have gotten the Timothy Thatcher that is ruthless and savage, and we should have gotten the Finn Balor that's actually skilled in the ring. We got nobody at their best.
Can I say something real quick?
Yeah.
Can I just say the Dexter Lumis, Tim Tam Thatcher, Tim Ram Ding Dong.
Yep.
Versus Oney Lorcan fight would have been wild. Versus in this world I'm creating, Damian Priest, Ridge Holland, whoever the hell he is, versus Finn.
No. I have an even better one. Damian Priest, Ridge Holland, and Bronson Reed. And then you have Johnny Gargano, Roddy, and Finn Balor.
And then Tim Tam, X, and Oni, so.
Yeah.
It would have made so much sense. Why have we sat through all this bullshit? Guys, sorry.
But yeah. This fight wasn't what we should have gotten. As far as story-wise, it doesn't really adjust anything. It doesn't move anything forward. Yeah, I don't know. It didn't really give us anything. It didn't surprise us. The only thing that I think it did well was making Dexter Lumis look stronger by knocking out Timothy Thatcher, which, like I said, was the absolute best way to end the fight and have Dexter Lumis win. So, very much disappointed by how this match went. Which sucks because this has 3 of our favorite NXT wrestlers. But with all that said, I don't think it's any shock that my pick for Fight of the Night is Johnny Gargano versus Roderick Strong.
That reaction, that facial reaction was not to you. I 100% agree. Sorry.
You good?
I saw some shit I didn't need to see. We'll talk about it right at the end of this podcast. You're not going to be happy about it. Anyways, yes, no, I totally agree. I think that this was a really impressive fight. It was a fight that we needed to see for both of these guys. Especially when you consider the fact that Johnny got to prove his skills furthermore as a real-ass wrestler as opposed to the goofy shit that he's been pulling recently. And Roddy got to also prove his skills past what he's been recently, but in addition, his loss has furthered this furthered his storyline with Undisputed Era further, and I'm happy to see that for sure.
Yeah, like it was definitely a fight Johnny should have won, so he kind of had the most to lose here. So seeing Roddy fighting back in the way that he did, only made him and the fight look a whole lot better.
Yeah. I think that we got exactly what we always look for in a fight of the night, which is impressive fighting on both ends of the spectrum, from both men. Just like tornadoed into my hand. Like ears hit my fingernails. I'm distracted. We got really impressive fighting and really impressive counters. Plus, we got storyline progression, which I think we're always looking for. And it made sense that this would happen because we had this to a degree last week.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm happy we got this fight. I'm happy to hopefully see where this is going. I'm happy that it might lead to Johnny getting more like real ass fights, and it might lead to the Undisputed Era we know and love coming back as the Undisputed Era we know and love. If I don't see Adam Cole do the boom and the baby one more damn time in the next month, I'm probably going to lose it. I'm probably going to have a panic attack and lose it. So, all right. I agree.
All right, so to recap, our promo of the night is a tie between the Undisputed Era is back and Keith Lee confronted by Scarlett featuring Cameron Grimes, although chat voted and they agreed with Keith Lee confronted by Scarlett featuring Cameron Grimes. Our fight of the night is Johnny Gargano, and our fight of the night is Johnny Gargano versus Roderick Strong. We always pick Johnny Gargano, or he's always picked every week, whether you pick him or not.
You pick him.
Sometimes we agree. Sometimes we agree on Johnny. But I guess that just shows how great of a wrestler he is. Or we just sleep on a lot of really great wrestlers. Like, I think Mike would say EO.
Tonight was not EO's best night, I don't think. And probably because of the people she was fighting with.
Yeah, if she had better opponents, she would have looked a lot better.
Even I feel like if this were more of a main event and I had a little more time and a little more room for finesse, maybe. But because it was a first out of the gate match, it felt difficult. It felt rushed.
Mike,
we've chosen EO before. We've chosen EO.
Oh yeah, we have. But Mike says don't break his heart by talking poorly about EO.
I love EO. I'm not breaking your heart, Mike. We love EO so much. I promise. Tonight was not our night. I guarantee you, next week we're probably going to get a full-ass match. Well, actually, no, we're probably not going to see EO next week. We're going to see EO soon. We're going to choose her when she needs to be chosen.
Yeah, probably.
So, can I spend the last 5 seconds of this podcast talking about some stuff real quick?
Liz, if you're going to shout out your social security number again, I would suggest you wait till after the podcast is over.
Me? Can you not bleep me?
I mean, not live.
Oh, shit. No, instead, I wanted to shout out about, first of all, your Mets lost. They look embarrassing against the Red Sox. That's really sad. I'm very sad for you. However, the Yankees didn't lose, and guess what? Look at my phone. Let me look at my phone. Look at my phone. Let me look at my phone. Guess what? Dodgers also didn't lose. Because you know what? Rob Manfred. Joe Kelly does not deserve a single thing that he got. I'm very mad about it. Joe Kelly deserved to throw every pitch he wanted to at the Astros. I hope the Astros burn in hell. And I'm mad about it. I don't think Joe Kelly deserves to be suspended for 8 games. And I'm going to spend the last 5 seconds of the podcast before Mark cuts me off saying that I hope Correa cried all night last night. I hope Alex Bregman shat himself when the 96-mile-per-hour fastball came towards his head. Because I hate him. I hate all of them. I have not supported the Yankees for 24 years for this shit from the Astros. I don't want to hear it. I hope that the Astros burn in hell. I hope this is the worst year of their lives. I highly encourage anyone who also hates the Astros and also follows baseball to follow the Houston Astros Shing Tour 2020. Not my Twitter. It's a Twitter I followed. It's a funny Twitter. Anyways. Sorry, I had to get that off my chest. I'm a massive Yankees fan. I'm really pissed off about everything that happened last year.
I just want you to know I maximized your camera so that it's the one that it's covering the whole screen right now. While you were on that tirade.
I know nothing about West Coast sports, West Coast baseball teams. However, when I started hearing about what was happening last night with the Dodgers versus the Astros, Joe Kelly may have hit one of our players 2 years ago, I think, and caused a whole ass brawl. He was playing for Boston because, yeah, fuck Boston also. But it's hard to say fuck Boston when they suck as much as they do. They've caused a whole ass brawl for the Yankees last year, or a couple years ago, or whatever it was. support Joe Kelly right about now. I support the hell out of that man. Also, his Instagram posts. I hope that the Astros cry themselves to sleep every goddamn night. Because you know what? You can't cheat and win a World Series and win multiple pennants and then not get suspended and expect baseball players to not care. How do you support a baseball team for 24 years and not get mad about this? I don't understand. Anyways, that's all I had to say. Should I also talk about Friday?
Friday?
And, you know, I like to do my look forward to our next stream kind of thing.
Sure.
I'll sit back up for it.
Okay.
I'm sitting back up for this.
Okay.
Wait. Let me close this out with,
I love the effort that goes into this.
close it out with this. All right. So, now that I've gotten that off my chest, I'm pretty sure I know that both Mike and Mylon.
And we got Splucha, too. We got Splucha. A friend of Mike's.
Splucha. Cool. Thank you. I just want everyone to know I cannot see the chat. I base just mark for everything that happens in the chat.
You say every time that you're going to bring up the chat next time, and you never do.
Never. I do have to learn how to do that. But everyone, if whoever follows me on Twitter from this chat, they have seen enough of these tweets, so I don't need to go on about it. All right. Anyways, I want to just see the cat real quick.
Oh, yes? Careful! Your social security card's on the floor.
No. So Friday, we will be back on Friday. SmackDown on Friday.
Unfortunately.
Yeah, we have to sit through it. We said from the beginning of this podcast, we said that we cover all of the major WWE products, which is SmackDown, Raw, and NXT. If you thought we would cover 205 Live, I'm so sorry, we cannot. It does not bode well for the way that our podcast works. So we cannot do that. However, we will be back on Friday. It will be SmackDown. It might be an interesting SmackDown episode because Bayley and Nikki are fighting. So
and last SmackDown wasn't so bad. It wasn't bad.
It's been incrementally, minorly getting better, slowly by slowly. Raw has somehow gotten worse. So I'm hoping that it does not become a 3-hour shit show. Fingers goddamn crossed. Anyways, speaking of crossed, we will have Bayley versus Nikki next week. It's Friday. Next week. Oh my god. We will have Bayley versus Nikki this Friday. We will be back this Friday. I probably around 10:15ish. It takes me a while to get this tripod set up, so can't promise anything. Thank you so much to everyone that has been in the chat communicating with us. I can't see you. I appreciate your appearances because Mark tells me. And thank you to everybody that's interacted with us outside, specifically Mike and Milam. Thank you for the compliments on my signs.
And
little things.
I look forward to you, Mike, coming on Friday drunk. He said he's going to down a bottle of wine and watch SmackDown, so that's going to be fun.
Mike, I will be there with you. I will have at least a couple of cocktails probably because it's Friday and it's SmackDown. You probably will need the bottle of wine. You probably will.
But thanks for watching, everybody. If you want to follow the stream, let us know that we're doing well. We know the 3 main people in the chat right now already follow. But if you're watching and you're not hanging out in the chat, you're not following, please give us a follow. It doesn't hurt. You'll be notified whenever we go live. Same if you follow us on Twitter, at the Pinfall Cast. Just remove the pod and you have our Twitter handle. There you can be notified whenever we go live. You can see, if you miss an episode, you can see our fighter and fight of the night. And you can also see some of the cool wrestling news, topics, and stuff that we retweet constantly. And sometimes Liz puts out some opinions on that Twitter. Never me. It's never me. It's always Liz. Just assume it's always Liz.
Main opinion is that this is a Mike Rome podcast. Or to Greg Hamilton. Or Mike Hamilton, whatever his name is.
Mike Rome.
I felt like I had something else to say, but I don't. Sorry. Think of it.
Also follow us on our personal Twitters. Mine is at the Mark Cameron, and Liz's is at Eliza Elaine 23. And did you remember what you were gonna say?
I was gonna say that Joe Kelly is a Gemini. I'm a Gemini. McIntyre, Fiend, Daniel Bryan, all Geminis. We create one Gemini army. It's volatile. If you don't want to listen to me talk about astrology, then you probably shouldn't follow me on my pod. On my Twitter, please follow me on the podcast.
And speaking of volatile, this is now the Cam and Grimes podcast.
No! We're not going to the moon!
And follow my personal Twitch, where Liz and I and a bunch of others work on a cool project where we combine the basis of wrestling with Pokemon, turn it into a really cool storyline, and it's awesome. Definitely check it out. I went live today, and we had a really cool match. I'll be going live again on Friday, so check it out then. And
I'm both Triple E and Liz Paris. You might see where these two names come from, because we have no one else. We're in quarantine and we can't get anyone else involved. Face to face.
And shout out to Splucha, who Mike said has a Twitch too, and goes live at 10 Eastern tomorrow night. Oh no. Oh yeah. Splucha. Okay. Because he also mentioned Milam in that post, so it's Splucha.
It's 1:02 a.m. So in theory, tomorrow night is actually coming up this evening, I suppose. This coming evening.
Yes, Friday evening, or Thursday evening, I assume. God, I am getting completely mixed up.
It's 1 a.m. Please share the love. We want to kind of be able to pay it forward as far as the support that we've gotten.
Mm-hmm.
So check Splucha out. Check Mike's podcast out at the B-Ball Teacher Podcast. I'm probably saying that wrong. I know I am. I always am. Yes, his schedule is all on B-Ball Teacher Pod on Twitter, specifically at B-Ball Teacher Pod. But please spread the love to Splucha, spread the love to Mike. We appreciate their support. Please pay it forward. Support them. Oh God. It's two people that have come up in the film industry thus far after school. Paying it forward is literally the biggest thing we have. So please do.
Am I missing? Oh, and if you missed part of this podcast, I want to check out the other episodes of this podcast. Go to YouTube and search the Pinfall podcast. We have all of our past episodes on there, minus some because Streamlabs screwed up at one point and didn't record any episodes.
Also, we were for backlash, and that is something that needs to die in the fire.
Yeah, we will not show the backlash episode. It was very bad.
Maybe one day when we're really popular, but not now.
I know I was like 7 shots deep at one point.
I spilled gin all over my floor. First shot, gin everywhere. It was great.
But thanks for watching. Hope to see you on Friday. And yeah, see you all then.